Are we live? All right. So I'm John for the Master of Nyarlathotep campaign here at Immortals. We took a couple of weeks off because of some travel and some illnesses, and we're back. And even though it doesn't look like it right now, people are actually in the general vicinity. We're just working our way back here. So we're running a couple of minutes late tonight. But tonight's session is going to be a little more casual than most of them because the thing we wanted to do before the characters leave London is we kind of wanted to chat about where things stand and what our next move is. So we're actually running. We're just missing Diane and Hugh and Rich, who hopefully will be all showing up momentarily. Brock is out this week. He's still traveling. Yes. But for those of us who are here, Tom, Nate, do you guys remember what was happening last time?
Bad stuff was happening last time. We were stuck in London. Well, not stuck, but we were in London. We didn't accomplish the goal of actually destroying Gavignon, but we did destroy quite a bit of his factories and pretty much everything that he could do to continue his endeavors.
Right. So you burned his house out in the country to the ground.
Yes.
And you badly damaged the factory where they were making parts. Do you remember what kind of parts they were making?
Yeah, it looked like a bomb.
And do you remember where those parts had come from?
Australia, down under.
Yeah, and that they were fossilized parts.
Yes.
That he was working from and redesigning a more modern version.
They apparently have invented the 3D printer.
Well, just about. They're the little slower version of casting and molding, I think.
What else?
And it cut off somebody's hand.
Yeah, we had to.
Yeah, so conveniently enough, since Brock isn't here, I thought that might be something that some of the other player characters might have an opinion on, if anything needs to be done about the good Dr. Alexander. Or if the safest thing to do is to keep him traveling with you.
What is his sand score like?
Not high.
Did you have any left?
I think it's not negative.
Yeah, he's declining very quickly though. Yeah, there it is. The bomb, or it looks like a bomb at least.
Could also be a rocket or something, if I remember last.
Well, like outside of the PC thing, this right here would create this would be a dirty bomb. Give off quite a bit of radiation, but no explosion. Very ugly. But yes, in player, I have no idea what it is. It's a weird thing that some crazy guy's making, so it's not good. Burn it.
It's the only way to be sure.
That's right. Nuke it from space.
I think that, I don't know for sure, but I would guess that we are probably close to, if not at the top of the most wanted list from Scotland Yard, I would imagine. They're probably...
If we were there, they'd already be on us. We've already made ourselves known to them, so I don't think at the moment anybody knows who we are, and I don't think Gavignon's going to be like, they burned down my cult house,
Well, this is not the first time it's happened, though, too. So.
I think being on the shit list of Gavignon and the Black Brotherhood, or the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh,
I think we need to leave
is
town.
worse.
Yeah, I think we need
I'd rather be, arrested than be hunted by cultists.
I honestly think we do need to leave town, but, we have to wait for the rest of the group to
Sure.
arrive.
Yeah. Well,
What else were we missing? We were missing some important piece here that is not in my notes, but I know it feels like we're missing something.
Okay.
Somebody was hunting. We had a lead for what's his face, the guy who was from the original Carlisle's position.
Jack Brady.
Jack Brady. He's in Singapore.
Yes.
And we saw a note in a drawer that said something like how he needs to be stopped. So, which means that he is still alive.
It was an unsent letter or telegram, wasn't it?
There was a
was
Edward
an unsent letter.
Gavigan.
Yeah, unsent letter.
Oh,
Partially written too, wasn't completed.
Oh, about the using mist or
It
something.
might be. Yeah.
It's in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere.
I mean, it would be good to have an ally.
There it is.
And we know that, like, I think Jack Brady knows some shit.
I think he's seen some stuff too.
Yeah.
Which means he may be as dangerous as these people. To us, at least, because he doesn't know us.
That's true. We don't really know him, though, so that's also true.
Here
He
it
may
is.
be an
This is
enemy.
the.
Well, I don't know. I don't think he'd be an enemy, because why would he be hunted? Like, if there's a hint that he is in danger from the Brotherhood. then
Well,
that might
there's
mean
always
he'd
the
be an
enemy
ally.
of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of thing going.
In that case, we have a lot of friends.
Well, I think that I would like us to, if I had my druthers, I think they should probably leave England.
I agree.
Toot sweet.
I don't think anyone's in disagreement that we need to get out of England as fast as possible.
Oh.
I think the biggest question is there anything you need to wrap up before you leave? And then the follow-on question is, where are you going next?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to kill Gavin.
I think we're going to go crazy next.
Some of you have already achieved that goal.
Some of us have to.
Can you see if Diane's coming?
She's with a customer
they're
or
like
somebody.
doing some kind of maintenance. There's like a ladder involved.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll let them continue on with that. Then we don't want to delay that. That's rather important for the store to continue functioning.
I'll go. They don't need lights back there. Come on.
I think you're right, Tom. I mean, Gavignon would be great if we can kill him, but I think we lost our opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I think we've hurt him, but I think that the mask was like the focus.
Is this all out again that we're talking about here? This here?
I think it's probably you should be having this in character. Honestly,
Okay.
that's my preference. If you guys don't object.
We could hire somebody to kill him. We've got plenty of money. That's never been discussed before.
We have a 5,000-pound jewel headdress that we could pay somebody with too. You know.
So just like, yeah, that's right. You just put a reward out on his head or whatever.
We got to figure out what we're going to do with that thing too. The one that the good doctor shoved his hand into molten steel to grab.
Find an iron box.
Well, you know my suggestion.
Put it in the ocean.
Drop it in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
We have that magic gold box. That's
Oh,
like
that's right.
the storage box.
Yeah.
Of course, there's something in it.
But well, it's in Egypt.
It's in
right?
Egypt.
Yeah.
We need to catch up to our stuff.
Yeah.
You mean the little tiny sarcophagus or something different?
Yes, the tiny size. No, it's not tiny. It was like yay big.
It was like a jewelry box or
Yeah.
something, I thought.
And this thing isn't this headdress thing isn't gigantic either. I mean, it's just like from what I was gathering, it was like just chain
Mhm.
going. So
Yeah.
Like a
like a
circle or
princess
something.
circlet thing type thing.
With yeah, it's basically a chain with the eyeballs dangling from it.
Hey.
Welcome. So,
Well, let's start a to-do list.
Yeah.
or at least a to discuss list.
Yeah.
Or a to-don't list.
Okay. Dispose of mask.
Or contain it.
Well, I would rather not be carting this thing around.
Well, I mean, we could put in something secure, and then put it somewhere where it won't be found.
Like the bottom of the ocean.
It could be found.
Right, but I mean, there's not really anywhere other than a volcano.
Well, there's other
That
dimensions and stuff. We just haven't figured out how to access them yet.
We've been in one before.
We could stick it in one of those
Well, we're not
fucking
sure.
paintings.
Good point.
I would have learned the painting lessons if somebody killed the artist. I'm not going to name names.
Hey,
So
he was an artist at that point. He was a collaborator.
we're having a semi-in-character discussion about what the open issues are and what the next moves are. So don't hesitate to ask questions and or contribute.
Okay,
Okay?
I'm figuring that out.
Awesome.
Are you guys talking about the fun mask of?
Yeah.
The headdress
The
that
headdress,
yeah.
Alexander liked so much,
Alexander?
yes.
Do you happen to have a picture of that thing?
Let me see.
Also, we need to discuss what we're going to do with the Alexander.
Yeah.
Nuke him from space. That's the only way to be sure. He is definitely in a bad way, though.
Well, if we're going to go on a trip, it's going to require some time to get there. That might be a good opportunity for the good doctor here to sort of maybe put him
So,
on.
image of the headdress.
Okay,
So it's basically,
It'll fit in a jewelry box.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically a kind of a chain that goes around the head, and then lots of eyes dangling off of it.
So,
It's actually cooler now that I've seen it.
Okay, I should have had the illustration previously. Sorry.
instead of reading all the books that the cultists own, we should be reading all the books of the cultist enemies. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we went to Peru, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have these things to, like, fight. They made some kind of temple. Remember, that was missing the piece the stuff was oozing out of. So instead of, like, researching how to
cult.
become a cultist,
Research the people that conquered the cults back in the
yeah,
day.
we should, like,
Because the Black Pharaoh had to have been stopped somehow, or it would still be present today.
It is still present today, man. That's what we're fighting.
No, I meant like. All right, so there was a picture of it like ruling, like openly ruling. It's no longer doing that.
Agreed.
There's the only place that we can find out
That is going to be in Egypt.
is Egypt.
I think like Egypt is going to be the center of the cult of the Black Pharaoh. Brother of the Black Pharaoh.
No,
That's like the epicenter, I think, of that cult.
this is like I said, semi in and out of character here. I posted before about what do you guys think of? Because whenever we show up somewhere, no matter where we've gone, it's literally like you have 5 days, and then something huge is going to happen. So it's like we're on an egg timer as soon as we get to a place. What about using our allies to go to a different place to start this whole ball rolling, so that when we get there, or if they can throw a wrench into the machine while we're somewhere else.
well, there's the opposite logic. If we never show up there, the egg timer never starts.
But I think right now we've created the egg timer.
Yeah.
We don't know enough about what the cult's doing. We don't know enough about anything to know if there's even an egg timer. And the only thing that is drawing us to the conclusion that there is an egg timer is that we think that because there's some ritual going on, like that's the day Nyarlathotep is going to be summoned. But dude, if this cult's been around for 3,000 years, it's not going to happen on Tuesday. Okay?
Yeah, but 3,000 years ago, they weren't
It could
making
happen on Tuesday.
they weren't making hydrogen bombs, right?
Yeah, but that's one plan from one. Well, that could be the plan for one manufacturer, which we destroyed it, and all the stuff, all the components used to make it, we wrecked it. So how many months did in time did we save
I don't know.
for Gavignon to make a moon rocket?
We don't even know what he's going to use it for.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the biggest worrying part.
And the bummer is, like, as much as we don't want to read all the Cthulhu mythos crap that we come across, like that might give us answers to the significance of these timelines, we burn because we would rather not go insane knowing that answer. So, like, I think we need to sort of come to some middle ground here. Like, we need, in order for us to know what the cult is up to, we might have to go a little crazy doing it.
Typically, something like the Black Pharaoh can only manifest itself in a time of like terrible strife, like plagues or that kind of thing. So I think what they're trying to do is like bring on like the end times to enough to facilitate him wanting to come back, because in honestly, probably like 1918 would have been a good time, but
yeah, right.
because of the plague, and I mean, I don't know what the cults were doing at that particular time.
What year are we in? 26.
25.
25.
February of 25. The 12th.
So it's relatively.
It's a Thursday. It's also Lincoln's birthday today.
Yeah, it's relatively 25. I mean, let's see. Egypt just came out of like a civil war in 22.
It's relatively peaceful.
So,
Relatively.
Well,
oh
yeah.
wait, it wasn't civil war.
Not for
It was independence, wasn't it? I don't know my history all that well. Something to do with colonial rule and the Egyptians taking control again.
Yeah, it's what I think the cults in Gavignon are doing, based on the behavior that we've seen so far, is they're trying to sow chaos, and because I mean, really, the Black Pharaoh doesn't want to do all the work himself.
Mhm.
He wants to show up when shit's about to hit the fan, and he wants to be the fan,
Yeah.
basically. That's what Mustafa thinks anyway, without saying shit hit the fan. I don't know when that saying came into being, but I mean, at the end of during the last, during the Great War, would have been a perfect time for him to show up, had he been summoned. I mean,
think
maybe
too-
they've been trying to summon him for 3,000 years, and he's just,
Well, after the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, like there was like what is it, Egyptomania, pretty much. Like
Yeah,
which
20s.
everywhere in the 20s, like everything was being dug up. So like maybe Gavignon and the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaohs sort of like were sort of reinvigorated by that, because stuff that even they believed was lost and hidden is being dug up, and that stuff that's being dug up are like the relics of the time when the Black Pharaoh was pharaoh or king or leader of the cult or whatever. So now that they have their hands on it, they have now new Cthulhu mythos stuff that they could use.
I have an idea.
correct me if I'm wrong.
We can get a Ouija board. She specializes in that, and the Ouija board will tell us where to go next. What do you think about that?
I have one in the other row.
Are you a medium also? That would be kind of cool. Can you
I don't
conjure
think
up the
so.
spirits?
Not yet.
Medium or well done. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't. The cult of the Black Pharaoh is not an Egyptian organization. It's a bunch of white college guys.
No, it's very much. Most of the members are Egyptian.
Okay.
I think
Most of the folks that were hanging out at the
Blue Pyramid.
Blue Pyramid Club were Egyptian.
Right,
And
but they're
people
not.
were coming from there. A lot of the people that were going to the cult meeting were coming from there.
But what is it like in Egypt? Has Mustafa heard about them, or?
Yeah, Mustafa definitely would have heard of them
Okay.
being active in Egypt as well.
Oh, okay.
I think going to Egypt is a good bet for our next step. But I really do think sending somebody to Australia, somebody that we know and trust, or multiple somebodies that we know and trust.
I nominate the librarian, since he can't speak for himself.
I think we need to discover what the egg timer is to know if sending allies to like metagame to play other characters at any given time. Like today, let's all play Australia today. Like pull out your Australian character sheets. Like I don't like that idea.
Why not?
And if you guys want to do troop play, I am totally down with that.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that communication is going to be somewhat limited between the troops.
Right.
I mean, that being the biggest restriction, because
No cell phones yet.
yeah, I mean, you're looking at sending a telegram where every letter counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if there's no real timer, and our objective is to disrupt these cults to stop them from getting their hands on whatever.
We know that all the stuff for this was coming from Australia.
That's right.
Even though we destroyed the stuff here,
Right.
there might be something in Australia. And if that means they're building another or multiple of these,
Yeah, but that might take. 8 months. I mean, let's look at the shipping manifest.
Right.
For
It
that
takes
stuff.
a little while.
I mean, if it took 3 years, well then, if we spend even a year in Egypt, who cares when we get to Australia? As long as we get there before new shit goes to England, we're good. That's what I'm saying about the 8 timer. If there is a timer where we got 4 months to do this, well then, yeah, probably doing true play is going to be like essential, because we're not going to get from England to Egypt, from Egypt to Australia, and then Australia to Shanghai, and then Shanghai to wherever else next, like in 4 months. We're going to spend 4 months on a boat.
Not quite that bad.
Yeah, but if we have like 3 years or years to do
Well, it's
all
just that we
this-
have no idea.
Exactly. So I think objective. This is a new objective. What? Figure out what our timeline is.
How do we do that, though? How do you figure out that time?
I don't think that our characters would think of it that way, because we do, and I don't think that that's the way that the game is designed to be played. Also.
Yeah, like 4 different parties playing this game. I agree.
No, I think that we could do that, but I think the results would be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or they'd be worse.
or they'd be, well, I don't know if they could be worse.
I think they could be worse.
I tend to agree with that one. I think they could be
No,
significantly
I mean it would
worse.
just be kind of we show up, we're followed by cultists no matter where we're at. We see some weird shit, and then we have to kill people, and then burn their shit down.
That's a pretty good. I like that. It's
See, I understand all that.
Yeah, I get that part.
I don't know
That
why I
works for
wouldn't.
me. I'm a few sanity points away from just doing that on a regular basis.
So, I mean, I think that we should decide what our goal is and then proceed from there.
Can I just share one bit of information with you guys out of character, since the question came up about travel times? England to Australia, about a month and a half, depending upon weather and everything. England to China, 3 weeks to 3 to 6 weeks. Again, we're talking to England to Shanghai.
And that's if deep ones don't attack the boat.
Right. And I keep saying England, but I do mean London. And London to Kenya, 10 days to 3 weeks. London to Egypt, 4 days to 2 weeks. So there's your rough travel times. So say less than 2 weeks to Egypt, less than 3 weeks to Kenya, up to 6 weeks to Melbourne, and again up to 6 weeks to Shanghai, if those are the places that you're considering traveling to. If you need travel times between any of those destinations, I'm happy to share them with you as well.
Here's an idea, though. What if we send our allies here while we go to Egypt, and then they try to kill Gavin?
Which allies?
We all have a little group of allies at the bottom of our character sheet. Trusted people that we
Right,
talk
those are
to.
trusted. Those are people
My
that we
fiance,
trust.
my mother.
Those are those are not people
what
who
mine
are
are.
just hanging out with a bunch of guns
Yeah.
and dynamite,
A colleague
ready,
from work.
waiting for us to call them.
Now, in
Maybe
fairness,
not-
you guys may not have been hanging out with guns and dynamite a year ago.
Yeah, I don't think I want to play the 89-year-old Esther, governess of the Blake estate.
I think I'd like to see that.
Well,
Mine are my cats. Yeah. I don't
jeez.
think my cat is gonna.
Not a lot
I
of
mean, he
dialogue
might.
there.
Yeah.
That's a conversation. I don't know. I mean, you might know some guys.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, I made that. I made that.
I mean, I made mine based off the same, starting character thing, but like, I got my brother, another priest who knows everything about this, and then a doctor who's a
An
military
infinite
doctor.
legion of hobos.
Infinite.
Right, that's true.
Right. You have a legion of hobos.
That's awesome.
The Fellowship of the Rail.
Infinite.
I think that that would be a great.
I mean, honestly though, like I have some contacts. If you guys just wanted to make a bunch of IRA members, I could definitely an assassination thing. We could do that.
Definitely see London burning.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would like to see Gavignon dead. But and you know, it would be cool to play like Delta Green or an organization like that, or the what's the one from
Hydra.
What, yeah.
We could be Hydra.
What's the organization from Hellboy? The BPRD.
Yeah.
That would I would like to play in that, but it kind of appears like we're on our own right now. That the names on my sheet at least are like people to call, like if I'm dead, that might get my stuff or show up for my funeral.
Mine cover that too. It's just
Yeah.
so I have more utilitarian friends.
They're not.
I'm not
like
trying to put down your cat or the 98-year-old. I'm just saying, like,
Well,
I thought everybody had
89, not 98.
right, because like when we were making characters,
There's a
it
difference.
Yeah, when we were making
specifically
characters,
said
I did
it was
say that,
specifically said have contacts that could be your character if you go insane or die.
right.
So
I ignored that because I would not do that to any of my friends or family.
Yeah. Welcome to your doom.
Hi. Thanks for coming to my birthday party. Guess what?
Here,
You
put
have
this
to.
on.
You have to avenge.
I got a nice headdress for you to check out.
Check out what I got for my birthday here. I think we can do that, Nate, if we make the right kind of contacts with playing our characters. But we just need to make an effort to do that. So, like, if we want you want a gang of loyal allies in Egypt, and when we're in Egypt, we need to...
I'm not saying like commandos here. I'm saying like other investigators that could...
Journalists, I mean, anybody that can
Right.
continually put the thorn into the side of the Black Pharaoh's operations, yeah, sure. But we need to, I think we can do that in wherever we go.
Well, that's the nice thing about it. If we do a troop type idea, everybody doesn't have to have a character specifically from their sheet. They could be friends of a friend type of thing that are drawn into this. You know what I'm saying? We have,
Well, I will
what do they
tell
call
you.
that? Artistic license to to make interesting
I'm
games.
interested in playing this guy.
Oh,
I don't want to play in like 17 Splinter campaigns with people who are named Mustafa Ali, and I would like to finish this campaign.
All right.
So
So much for the International Spy Network.
right, I mean, I think
Okay.
that's cool.
I think and I think we could do that again if we wanted to do that. We can totally NPC out that happening if we make those contacts. Like, we have the money, we have the knowledge, and if we make the right contacts, I think we can let them out of character set that up.
Diana, do you understand what we're talking
No,
about?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't, but
So-
I'm about to find out, I guess.
Yeah, so
this is all new to me.
Troop play is a style of role playing where, in addition to your main character, you have some other characters that
Right.
people can kind of share between them. Sometimes that means every player will have a couple of different characters. Sometimes it means there'll just be a pool of generic characters that different people will grab as the situation is appropriate. And one way of doing that is saying, we got our main characters are working on this problem, but we also need to look at this other problem in another place. So everybody will have a second character that they would use for working on that problem in the other place.
Okay.
And so the suggestion
Got
that
it.
Nate
Yep.
was proposing was, hey, we all have these friends and allies that are mentioned on our character sheet, or maybe we've met some people along the way. We could make up those characters and send them off to Australia while we went to Egypt, or send them to Shanghai while we went to Kenya, or
Okay.
send them to Antarctica while we dug a hole in the ground and stayed there.
Yeah.
And it's
And then you would play both the characters?
Not at the same
you would-
time.
you
Not
would
at the same
play
time.
the appropriate character to the scene that you were addressing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'd be going back and forth between
Yeah,
And
Shanghai to our main characters in Egypt, let's say.
yeah.
But it probably wouldn't be during each session. Like
No,
it'd be
character
like a
B
session.
wouldn't know
of
what
this.
character A knows.
Right.
And it might be happening like the time will be shifted. Like we might be going back 2 weeks, going ahead 2 weeks.
Yeah, because those characters, like we may have done our stuff and it took us 3 weeks to get it done.
It's going to take a month to get to Australia. Well, obviously our characters aren't going to be just
Right.
Yeah.
so.
Sitting in the green room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But the reason I suggested it was simply because it seems like the cult has people everywhere, and we're just 6 people. Well, really 5 now. Because one of us
Is that why we talked about you
bat
was
crazy.
getting allies, trying
Yes.
to get allies?
And this is
Yeah,
how you would
There's-
put it into the system.
Right. So
Yeah.
the other way, there's 2 different ways you could do allies. One is just you hire non-player characters, and you send them off to do something, and I tell you guys what happens through their interactions with you. The other way is to have you guys actually play those characters. It gives you a little more plot control.
Okay.
Both options can work, or you can not pursue either of those options if you want to make sure that the characters you've already created have as much center stage as possible.
I'm just fresh and new with this. You guys are all
No,
seasoned
it's-
players,
it's
so
all
I'm going to
good.
be like, what
Yeah,
character am
it's
I
all good.
at?
Yeah. No, I
It's bad enough to
In that
know my
case, we
character
should
as it
switch this
is.
to pen.
Learn,
Yeah.
learn all this.
Confuse
it's
her
all
even
new.
Yeah, and then we're gonna make you like relearn all new shit.
Another
Like,
one.
Yeah.
you don't know this yet, but here you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Play this character.
I
And
can do this.
just to keep things on your toes, we'll run the other characters using a completely different game system.
That would be the first time.
So I mean, what makes that idea a cool idea, Nate, is that I think we might have an NPC already in line to be that ally, Jack Brooke.
The scoop guy?
No, that's Mahoney. But he could be an ally too. But I don't think we've done enough in our time here in England to really
Brody.
make that happen.
Brody's the Scotland Yard guy?
No.
No,
No.
that's
Brody
Bro-
is Carlisle's bodyguard.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but we know some stuff about him that he somehow escaped the Carlisle expedition,
Right, and they're after him.
and the cult is after him, and he is in Hong Kong or something, Shanghai, one of the two. And that setup, Nate, might be a good sort of way to have him run our Eastern world stuff. Like let him and
What
his,
if
and those
what if we
allies-
send out some friends to try to find him?
Well, we could do that.
But then that's
going to
instead of
Egypt.
going to Egypt. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have to go to Egypt.
No, we don't have to do anything. We could
Well,
let-
where would we go if we?
Oh, I
didn't
don't know.
go
I mean, we can really go anywhere. We have a lot of information that leads us to Egypt. We have a lot of information
Why
that
don't we
leads us.
talk about some of that information too?
Yeah. Let's take a look. I also want to take a look at something from our American stuff. Do you have New York?
Everything's in here. Yeah. Let's see.
And-
New York.
Diane, Rich, Tom, ask questions, please.
I'm just trying to absorb as much as I can.
Absolutely.
honestly, right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're doing an information dump of like 13 sessions. Okay, so what is this one here? Alright, this is returning the bus. So this is an Egypt lead. This is the second or third time this dude has been named too. No, I'm sorry. Not this guy. This is Omar Shakti.
Now, if I recall, Mustafa has rather strong opinions about Omar.
And you know, okay,
Yeah,
Mustafa knows.
that guy's a jerk.
There is one person.
He's like, I'm
Nasir-
sure he's probably pushing all kinds of crazy artifacts on these Black Pharaoh people just to make money.
I mean, from what we understand too about what's going on in our experience, is that if this dude's name is even mentioned in a letter coming from or going to Gavignon, he's dirty as hell.
Yeah,
So
They're-
that's
they're scum.
yeah.
They're villainous scum, sucking scum.
So I mean, just because of the shipping manifest,
Are they scum?
we have
Yeah, they're scum puppies.
artifacts going to Australia. Egypt, Kenya.
Is that from the manifest from Nairobi House? Or it was Nairobi House, wasn't it? No, Juju House in.
No.
Nope, this is
Juju
not.
House.
This is from the. This is a manifest from.
We got that out of the office.
Penn Foundation's office?
Yeah,
Okay.
Derby, or that's more Australia. No, I'm
no.
sorry. Derby is in the building we
Yes. That was the manufacturing facility, right?
Right. And a lot of stuff was coming from Australia to Derby, and I think that they're the ones. Australia's manufacturing those parts for this rocket. Shanghai. So we know stuff is being built in Australia to fuel whatever the hell Gavignon is doing here in England.
My opinion and Mustafa's opinion are equal.
Hold on a second.
I think that going to find Brady is a side quest, and I don't know that he's necessary. He's probably, if I were him, I would be drinking a lot and trying to maintain a low profile.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Do you remember this handout?
I did.
Because it just hinted at something right here. Okay, so through the twisted door to the jeweled throne of darkness, I came with all reverence and humility to gaze upon scenes of celestial majesty and rebirth. When the six lights were lit and the great word said, then he came in all the grace and splendor of the higher planes, and I longed to sever my veins so that my life might flow into his being and make part of me a god. Egypt, London,
New York,
New York,
Australia.
Australian, Cairo,
But,
not Cairo,
Kenya.
Kenya.
but I don't know if you're counting Kenya and Egypt as two different places.
Point is 6 points of light, and we have plans for a big boom with hydrogen.
That might be too literal, man. 6 points of light.
It
That
might be
certainly
that easy
sounds
though.
like.
That's like I don't know.
Well, what do we do about it? I mean, if we
Nuke it from
we
space.
can't be everywhere at once.
Exactly.
So we can only turn out one of those lights at a time.
So couldn't we send like one of those non-player characters over there to see the Brady guy or do what we need to do with him while we go and do something else?
Well, the way the
Isn't-
game system
isn't
works, you have to have a skill set to like figure out where the guy is, figure out where the clues are. Like you have to have skills, so you can't just like send like your sister that knows nothing
Or my cat.
or his cat. You
That's a pretty
understand?
good
Because they're not going
census.
to find anything.
I mean, my cat is really awesome.
Yeah.
Be that as it may,
Is he in Egypt?
Why don't we
They
follow
like
the
cats, don't they?
He's from Egypt.
following the trail of
Even a cat knows more than you
Elias
think.
too.
No, I know my
Where did
cat
Elias
knows
go?
more than I think.
See, we're sort of like backwards.
Well, no, we're
Elias was in
following.
last.
You guys want.
He hasn't been around because it's been so cold. And
You
he's,
guys wanted
he's a
to follow
hairless
the
one of
path
those.
Yeah.
of the
Those
Carlisle
hairless cats.
expedition.
You don't have any.
That was the
clothes
logic
or
you
anything
guys-
Oh, I
like that.
do.
That is right.
I got a
Yeah,
basket
it started.
that I carry
Then
around.
that started.
I
in London.
was
What's it called?
following
Yeah, he doesn't like.
the artifacts.
Right.
You know, first we go to Jackal Street in Egypt, then we go to Australia. You know what I mean? Wherever the artifacts were leading us, instead of following the exact path of these Carlisle crazy people.
Well, let me.
Yeah, here's another guy too.
I've got
Forgot about this dude.
a couple of diagrams here that I can't really show you, but maybe we can talk about a little bit. And maybe this will ring some bells. So, when you guys were in America, thinking back, to get to England, you had some clues from Jackson, and you had some clues from the Carlisle expedition, right?
Mhm.
Does that sound familiar?
Yep.
And then Jackson also had some references that pointed you to Egypt. Oh, and Prospero House also had some ties to England, right? And that was how you got in touch with Mahoney.
That's right.
For Egypt, you had the Carlisle expedition connections. You had Erica Carlisle had also mentioned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson had some notes about Egypt. I think that was everything coming out of the U.S. pointing you towards Egypt, correct
Well,
me?
there was the importer guy with the Egypt connection too.
That's true, yeah.
And Kenya.
Looking at Kenya, Prospero House had some ties to Kenya. The Carlisle expedition had ties to Kenya.
That's where they
And
died.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
And-
Rich says that. Like,
um,
what kind of ties do you want?
Arthur Emerson was the importer. He had a connection with Ajah Singh out of Kenya,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Those all sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at Australia, I think the only connection you had was by way of Professor Cowles.
Yeah, the
Call to the Bat
Mm-hmm.
in his notes, and
Well, now we
the
have
shipping
the-
manifest stuff.
The crazy.
Yeah, I was going to get to the London stuff. I was just starting with the American
Oh, it's just
stuff.
the
Yeah.
American stuff.
And then the last place that I think you had a lead to, correct me if I'm wrong, was China.
mm-hmm.
And Jackson had some notes that pointed towards China,
Mm-hmm.
as did Prospero House. That all?
Were there any cult references to China,
Yes.
or was it just that?
It was mainly just the photo, and then
The
what we know now of
The shipping stuff going to Shanghai.
yeah.
What stuff was it? Was there a cult named in Shanghai?
No, not that we know of.
Yes, I think there was.
From the American stuff,
No, from
Nothing
the London
we're
stuff.
only covering the
Yeah, no, I
American
was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
starting
Just
with the
the-
American stuff.
Yeah. So no.
And then, so coming out of England, the only leads I think you have. Go
We
ahead.
had the Matchbox also.
Yes. Yeah, that was part of Jackson's
That's
stuff,
right.
was the Matchbox.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff's in his notes are in the London one because they're so important.
Okay.
Yeah, so then in London, the Pena Foundation had multiple ties to Egypt.
Yep.
Miser House had some information that pointed toward Egypt.
It's in there somewhere. Sorry.
And then
This.
I think that's pretty much all you had pointing you to Egypt coming out of London. There's the ledger from Miser House, which pointed you to both Kenya and China.
In Australia.
And well, there was the Henson Manufacturing ledger that pointed you to Australia. I think that was a different ledger.
Right.
I may be wrong. And then the Penhue Foundation also had a ledger that pointed you to Australia.
Which other letter? All right, so we had for Australia we had a Dr.
Cowles, Cowles.
Yep.
He did the presentation that Jackson attended, and you spoke with him. I
On the
believe he
phone.
was at Miskatonic, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And it's possible I'm neglecting to mention something, but that's what I recall.
The only thing that I can recall that points towards cultists' activity in China, it might behoove us to go there, maybe, and try and see it in its genesis. Is that statue with the coolie hat that
Mhm.
we found in the basement?
That's right.
In the basement of the Penhue Foundation, I
Yeah.
believe, right?
Mhm. That's
I
right.
mean, other than that, we haven't got a whole lot of
And I think this
cultist
letter.
stank from China yet.
Yeah, and this letter mentioning Jack Brady is in Shanghai.
Perhaps perhaps going to Shanghai would be our next
And the only,
good step, because if they're actively trying to kill him, if we go somewhere else for a month, he may be dead before we get there.
all right, and they clearly say that I understand that he's still in Shanghai, and it would be in your best interest to hunt him down. We don't know who he was writing this letter to, though.
Somebody crazy. Probably.
Yeah, it says for the pale. I don't know. I can't read the scribble.
Chicken scratch.
Yeah.
For the attention of, I believe that's Pale Viper.
Pale Viper. And that is somebody in Egypt.
That sounds like an assassin name if I've ever heard
Professional
one.
wrestler.
Yeah.
Only
He's
if
a
it's in
luchador.
Mexico.
Shit, now, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's a luchador. Now we have ties to Mexico.
All right. Let's go Shanghai.
Wait.
I'm down.
I mean, Shanghai sounds good. I mean, because we may be able to fulfill what Nate is trying to do. We get an ally that can then run our other operations. If he becomes an ally, we know that he is a part of something that the cult wants him dead.
Okay, just bear with me on this one. New York, London, Kenya,
Yeah.
Shanghai, Egypt,
Australia.
Australia. So New York, Australia,
Okay.
Shanghai, Egypt, London, Kenya.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just make sure. Nowhere else that we're...
Not yet.
So, 6 points of light, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
what about Peru?
Peru happened many years before that and really wasn't tied into this at all.
Sure was. We learned that the
Yeah, it
father
was.
of maggots is also another name of the.
It definitely is. There was a cult, and Father of
Nyarlathotep.
Maggots is.
Yeah, we should go back to Peru and figure out who built that temple.
Wait a minute.
The Incans did, man.
We need to harness our international hobo army to go there. Or International House of Hobos.
You know, there's another name
IHOB.
from America that I don't even know if we even investigated the name on that. It was an author of a letter. I don't remember anything about it though. This person's name was Warren Barrett or Bessart.
Besart. Besart.
Yes, and he wrote a letter to Carlisle before he went on his trip. Yes.
That was from New York?
Come on.
He's from Cairo.
I'm saying we picked that up in New York, though,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now he is in Egypt. So that is another, yet one more Egypt connection.
Who is he?
Warren Besart. Besart. He's a purchasing agent out of Cairo.
Didn't we have a card for that guy?
I think you have a letter from him.
Yeah, we
Just a
got
letter. The card was for Emerson's Imports.
Leclerc.
Leclerc.
Oh yeah, the Drago Man. That guy. Another.
But yeah, in that letter is a name that's mentioned that that Mustafa also knows that is another shady character.
Well, like dragging a dollar through a trailer park.
But we do have yet one more connection to Egypt. I mean, certainly we have a lot more connections that lead us to Egypt than to anywhere else. But that could
No
be
other place has a definite, we're looking for somebody caveat to it. Shanghai does.
Yeah, we kind of know what we're going to do when we go to Shanghai.
Well, we know that we're looking for somebody, we know who we're looking for, and we know that other people are going to be looking for him, actively trying to kill him.
Yeah.
That might be
I don't.
the linchpin for it. Like, we need to get to him before others do.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we have allies, certainly. But I'd rather do it like without.
That's not the only reason. I'm just saying, like, there's a clear human in danger here, whereas
Right, let's
Pyro.
go rescue him in 3 weeks.
And we knock on his hotel door, and we hear sounds of struggling inside. I'm just
That already happened.
foreshadowing.
That only happened once. All right.
It's
All
almost
right.
like
And we came out on top on that one. Okay.
It's like we're supposed
Sure, Jackson died, but
to show up just.
we took down that whole cult out there in New York.
So,
Mustafa would like to go to Egypt at some point because that's his home.
let me.
But
I believe we've got a world map, don't we?
We do.
Pull
Yeah,
that out.
somewhere.
It's right in the maps.
'Cause I'm pretty sure there's a kind of an important point here that you guys might also want to take into consideration. Pull out that world map. I think
Distance and
anybody with
time.
geography is going to pick up on this. Right, so you're currently right up here in
Is
London.
everything on the same
right?
parallel?
So if you're going to go to Shanghai, right? Shanghai's right around this area, right?
Mhm.
How do you think you're going to get there?
Around the rock.
Uh-uh.
By
We're gonna
train?
go through.
You're gonna
the
go
Suez Canal and
Through the Red Sea
Let's see. Yeah.
and go this way. And going this way, you're going to pass Cairo.
We just wait.
that fact is not lost on me.
Yeah.
And Nairobi is right down here.
But
And
you
then
could-
you're
you
going
could
to
take a
pass
train to
Australia. Well, I mean, in general, you're going to pass Australia in order to get back over here.
Right. No, I understood that stuff, but
Okay,
I'm
well, I
saying
just want to point out you're going to go past Cairo on your way to Shanghai.
people are actively searching for someone right here.
Sure. Yeah, so here's Shanghai.
Right. And if we go to Shanghai, then we might as well, on the way back, hit Nairobi and.
Australia, Nairobi, Cairo.
I don't know what going to Australia is going to get us. That much good, but- I mean, we could go burn some shit.
I don't know. I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, if we stay at the rate that we are like plowing through like our time and places, what is another week on a 6-week travel to Shanghai if we spend a week in Egypt? So
Well, we're not going to just spend a week in Egypt.
Yeah, only be a couple of days for us to.
burn it to the ground.
Before we get
How long does it take really for
Yeah.
Egypt to burn? It's not that long.
Yeah.
It's dry.
Yeah.
No, I like Egypt.
Mustafa's not laughing no more. You're gonna bring it home.
You freaking white people.
It's the Irish.
What about the
Wait a
Irish?
minute now.
Finish that one.
I need to go to the little boy's room, but I think that we should go to Shanghai, and then unfortunately, what would be really cool if we could do it would be to take the Trans-Siberian Railroad.
Sure, you can.
Nothing
To the extent
weird
that it
happens on a
exists.
train
Yeah.
in the Cthulhu
We have
mythos.
the Horror on the Orient Express.
Yeah, you'd probably
module.
end up taking the Orient Express.
But that only goes to Turkey, I thought.
It gets you
Right.
to Turkey, and then you'd have to switch there. So
They're going to run an entirely different campaign.
I think that starts in Italy, so we can get.
Oh.
where do you think it starts?
I think it started in Italy,
I'll let you think that.
I'll be right
didn't it?
back. We got to figure out what we're gonna do with Alexander also.
But yeah.
So really, the only thing that we got going for Shanghai at the moment is that's the location of.
Brady.
Brady.
And we know there's activity there, but we don't know what. We have no names. We just have a couple points of
Right.
and those are going to be importers, and that's all we know.
And a bunch of white guys would never stand out in China. We would not.
In 1925, no, we wouldn't. Still
Not in
colony.
Shanghai. I mean, like, if we went further away from Shanghai, probably.
Yeah. I think Shanghai is like, what, 5 or 6 different colonies? There's like the Dutch district, the German district.
Definitely wouldn't in Hong Kong.
Same with Hong Kong.
That's what I meant. We
Yeah,
wouldn't in
yeah,
Hong
it's a
Kong.
colony.
It's on lease.
Yep.
Alright, so I say Shanghai. And I know it doesn't make sense that we just don't go. But Shanghai is the only one that we definitely have we're looking for this person. He might be dead before we get there.
Probably will be dead.
Most likely, yes.
I think we have so much information though in Egypt that discovering anything is just a stone throw away. Like anything the stuff that we need to discover, because we already out of the gate we have 10 names,
We know the
multiple
dig
locations,
sites. There were like
dig
3 or 4
sites.
dig sites.
Yeah, we know something about other stuff that hasn't been mentioned, like other names. Clive.
There'll be a lot of artifacts there that can make us go crazy quicker.
Yep. But also the knowledge that we get though about our made-up egg timer that we think is a thing.
Well,
It just seems like
it is a
like
thing.
we got to New York. Jackson died in 4 days. Big ritual happens. We get to London, find some stuff out. In 2 days, big rituals.
They
gonna
have
happen.
those
Yeah, but
what
naval
I'm saying-
clocks.
But what we figured out about that is because we completely fucked up the ritual, the world didn't end. So clearly the egg timer isn't as big of an egg timer as we thought. Because if it was on the egg timer in
Well, yeah,
Egypt,
they
or
haven't. They haven't
Right.
created their bombs yet, so there can't be 6 points of light right now
And we
because we already
just-
took out New York.
and 6 points of light, I mean, might be like
Absolutely not.
metaphoric.
I understand.
Right?
Completely. I'm just saying there's 6 places they're building bombs
Yeah.
of some kind.
Yeah. Or something. And we know Australia's built, and our title Australia is they're building parts for this crap. What do you think?
Where do you want to go on your 3-hour tour?
On the train. Train sounds good.
A
I
nap.
like the train ride.
Well, a nap sounds good to me. I only got about 3.5 hours of sleep last night.
I think Egypt is a pretty logical place. I mean, it's like a slap in the face if we don't go to Egypt next. On the other hand, I also think that Egypt is sort of like a central place. So we might be walking into like a den of fucking vipers.
Well, here's the other good thing about it. If we go to Egypt as our A characters and we get killed off on our continuing adventures, when we come back to Egypt, we'll be different people. They won't even know who we are.
That is also true. We could play the Allies in Shanghai when our characters die in Egypt. That is very true.
So what I'm understanding is Shanghai is like our safest place to go because we want to find
There's
an
no
ally.
such thing as safest,
Yeah.
but
I think
I'm-
some-
honestly, the only reason I'm suggesting it, and this would even be my character would be
It
suggesting
looks the least dangerous.
it's not. Well, we know that they're actively hunting somebody, so
but we have allies there that we
we don't have anybody.
we don't have no
We
allies.
may.
Right.
But we
All
might,
I'm saying
there
is
might be
there's
one
a
potential-
very there's a very important person of interest that if we delay on, may be dead before we get to them.
and we want this person because he's going to be an ally.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Possibly, or at
We
least
wanna
give us
try
a
to make-
We
nice
wanna try
piece
to
of a
make him
puzzle.
ally.
So even if we get there and he's dead, maybe he will have other contacts
We
that
have
he's
no idea.
working with.
He might have
Well,
started
that's
his
also
own
true.
cult.
We might
He
be
could
able
already
to
be-
He might have
be
been part of the cult and then
allies
just said,
with-
"Screw you guys, I'm going to start my own." You know,
Right,
who
he could-
knows?
maybe he's
who
the head.
knows?
Maybe he's the head of the Shanghai cult.
Right. Who knows? All I'm saying is, right now, they're definitely trying to kill him.
No, she had a really good point. If he's dead, then maybe he made contacts that then could become our contacts
Yes.
too. I mean, like, there's always that possibility.
So just because he's out of the picture doesn't mean there's other allies we won't be able to
Yeah.
hopefully
But-
find. If it won't be a wasted trip,
I mean, but there,
if that's what the case is.
yeah, and there could also be potential allies anywhere we go. We just have to make
Yep.
them. We just have to meet them and actually work to make them an ally.
I agree
You know,
with
like
that.
like Mahoney.
I think
like,
we need to start doing that everywhere we go.
Well,
yeah.
and this is out of game. Well, we need to do something so that Brock can be involved. That's why I was talking about even a troop played, because right now Brock's character is pretty much useless.
Well, he has to let it go. He has to be the one willing to say.
He's
And
believe
if
me.
and if he's not gonna ever
Brock's
let
ready
that
to
go.
roll up a new character.
Well, there you go.
he's
Then there's
got
no
no problem
problem.
with that.
There's no issue. Put him in the insane asylum and move on.
I might be happy with that.
But you're also a psychoanalyst and a hypnotic. You have hypnosis. I mean,
But we
If we're
tried that
questions-
already, didn't we? With him?
You tried
Under duress.
under duress in a game session. That kind of treatment, something that would take weeks, if not months, for it to have a meaningful
like a
effect.
nice
Like a long
boat
trip
like
in a
a
boat
boat
ride?
Yeah.
All right, well,
like
I
a
mean,
really
I don't
long
know.
boat ride across
I'd
the
definitely
world.
be willing to try that.
Well, and
If that's
that's
something I could do.
so that's something you guys in character need to discuss too. Is
I mean, I kind of been.
do you think you're better off
Have him,
keeping
one
him
way.
where you can see him, or do you think you're better off putting
Well, I
him
don't think
somewhere where he can't hurt himself or the rest of the world?
I think we should keep him with us, honestly, because I think he's not his information. He gives us information, although it's bad, probably.
No, it's
but
good
at
information.
least-
It's just a bad way to get it.
Yes, but you know, he's also.
he's our researcher or our researchist right now too.
And our linguist.
And our linguist. So I mean, he's not useless.
Yeah.
No, it's just I don't want to create like a cage for him somewhere and be like, here, put this on for a minute, tell us some stuff. Okay, we'll try taking that off you.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
Morally speaking,
He enjoys it. I'm sure he enjoys it. He loves that thing.
I mean, I think everybody has lost a little bit of sanity, right? I've lost a point.
I don't know. I think I did. Yes.
Am I the
No,
most
I
sane
have
one
10.
here?
My sanity's. I'm
Probably.
perfectly sane.
No, I suspect.
No.
Well, I didn't start with a lot. I
Started with 9 and I'm at 8.
have 7 points.
Okay.
I started with 11. I'm down to 8.
All right, so we're the same sanity. We're just a little screwed up. Things get bad when we hit 0, man. So
I didn't
Well,
want to
that's
have.
normal everyday life, right?
yeah, right. Turn on Fox News. I mean, we all lose a little sanity.
I didn't want to start with too many pillars. I would just be so upset of losing them all. If you don't have any,
Yeah.
No ties, right?
If memory serves, Brock still has, or Alexander still has 1 pillar left.
Yeah, so he at least has 3
3.
sanity. But he's getting scary. Don't get me wrong. He's getting that character
Well, he
is
could
getting
have
scary.
5.
Where's this
Right?
headpiece at?
He could have 5.
Up to.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
Where's the
Okay.
headpiece?
well, what we did with
own
it.
If you have
We
5
threw it
sanity,
into
you're not
molten metal,
reaching into
right?
molten.
You reached the
Steel
rock
to
grab
So,
it.
so it's like stuck to
But
it.
he also wasn't
It's like part of
in
his arm
control.
now.
No,
No,
we
they
took
chopped
that.
the
It's
arm
cut.
off.
That's chopped
Okay.
off.
Oh, I wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
Oh.
There wasn't much to chop off. It was.
He wasn't there for that.
No, I didn't pursue him.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
And then I
chopped
got
it off.
attacked by the fog and stuff. You
So where
guys
is it
were the
at, though?
ones
What
that
do we
were
do
like.
with it?
We currently have it on us.
Yeah.
It was wrapped up
Wrapped
in a
up.
blanket.
Yeah. And you, it
It tried to talk
Tried
to me,
to talk to
but
me.
I defeated it.
but
I
it
never
did talk to
touched
Nate,
it.
didn't it?
Oh yeah. Yes, it did.
Oh Lord.
Anything, any object that's self-aware is not good.
I'm
I don't know.
self-aware.
I think we're still
guess
talking
I'm not
pros
good.
and cons right now.
And well, right now the discussion is what to do with Alexander.
Alexander.
Do we?
Keep him with us,
Right.
close with us, so we
Or do
know
we-
what's up. Put the
Do we
hat on.
just say,
the,
hey Brock, make another character. We'll meet the new one.
Put the headpiece on every now and then.
Retire
so
this
when
guy
we need
out.
information from him. then we'll
Mild-mannered
listen or-
Muscatonic University linguist goes.
I'm gonna
and-
try and heal him or take care of him. Apparently.
Okay. I think we should make a decision on one thing and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
That's generally how problems are solved.
Don't be
Nah.
a party pooper, Tom. We're thinking about going to where is it?
I'm 50.
Singapore.
Or Egypt or Australia.
I'm 51 and I had a heart attack a few years ago. I'd
Really?
like to see the end of this campaign before I
No,
freaking die.
My vote's for the Singapore one. It's the less. I think Shanghai.
Here's
could get
also
allies
here's
there.
the caveat to that. Also, if we go to
We're
Shanghai,
never going to go anywhere.
Oh, I thought we were talking about your life expectancy for a moment.
No,
Caveat.
if we go to Shanghai, we can stop in Cairo. You guys can stay on the boat. I can stir the pot and grab the little box, and then we can go to Shanghai. I have friends, I that are, you know, people I know in the black market.
Well, we could stop in
Sources of
Cairo. We don't
information.
have to do the investigation of this. We can stop in Cairo. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, in my opinion, there's a
If we're stopping-
definite. This guy might not be there if we don't go.
We also got to consider weather right now because it is winter.
Hmm?
And yeah, as we head like south to Cairo, it's probably going to be not winter.
It'll get a lot warmer.
Well, it's
when we-
summer in Australia, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
I have a feeling if we stop in Cairo, it's not going to be a stop. It's going to be a long haul.
I think
Right,
we have
you
to
guys should
stop.
stay on the boat. I'll call my friends and get that box, and then we'll put the headdress in the box.
We are releasing a demon when we do that, though.
No,
we
it was
need to
some-
do some research on how to destroy it.
Well, then I guess probably the best place to be have it with us because we know what it is. We know what it is. We know it's not. We're not going to let nobody else fool
We
with it. So
Yeah.
the best place for it to be is with us. If we're
Ah.
worried,
we just can't carry that thing around in our pocket. I think
Yeah,
that's a bad
exactly.
um,
idea. It's going to tie.
so who can make something safe to carry it around?
A wizard. Thank you.
God bless you.
We need a cultist wizard to make us a
We
magical
need-
box.
Does anybody have any connections for that?
we need Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Dumbledore.
I mean, I think
We are in London right now.
Maybe we could put the thing on
Just gotta
Brock's
find
head,
platform 9
and he
with
could
your
tell
quarters
us what to
and
put to make it safe.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Your best mythos expert is the person least interested in securing the headdress.
Should we take a vote on where we go next?
Do we want to work out any more pros and cons of each location before we take a vote? I think Egypt is a great next spot. And we'll do a round table. How about? Why do you think Shanghai, Diana?
Just because it's the I think we'll be in and out of Shanghai. Basically, if we're going there for the least amount of, you guys say it's not safest, but there's the least amount of activity. We're going there for one reason. That's it. We're going for multiple reasons when we go into
I think Egypt should be our end game.
Egypt. There's all kinds of things.
I think Kenya is an end game.
And then maybe on the way back from there, we can work our way through and make allies and work our way up to Egypt. We'll have all kinds of allies by the time we get there.
Okay. Nate.
That's my thought.
Shanghai. For all the reasons I was saying before. It's the only place that we definitely know there's somebody in peril, and that person is of real interest to us.
Richard.
I vote for Egypt. That's where the stuff is. The stuff we could use to fight the people when we go elsewhere.
Stuff that can make you go crazy faster,
Yeah,
like
that's
you
right.
said.
That's right. The good stuff.
The good stuff, huh, Rich? Or
I vote for Shanghai and then hit Nairobi, then Egypt. I think Egypt is our end game. That's going to be, if we survive to that point, then
we will survive. Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
all roads lead to Egypt.
And Brock's character.
What's
well,
yours? What did you?
Egypt.
Egypt.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
3 to
there's
2.
a lot of information that is leading us to Egypt.
I mean, I agree.
I think
Yeah.
I think wherever we go, I mean, even in Shanghai, it's not just Brody we're after. It's the people who are after Brody we are also going to be after.
Right.
And that's going to be another cult, which
It's
we
going to be
have
Juju House
yeah,
Part 3.
yeah. I mean, so we're going to have to investigate a cult there. If we follow the 6 lights part of the letter, then there's definitely activity in Shanghai. We don't know Brady's
Here's the difference though
character.
between that and Cairo. We go to Cairo, we're doing the same thing. We don't know that there's somebody in Cairo that's actively going to be searched for that has a key information that we do. We do know that in Shanghai. We go to Shanghai mainly because we want to get there before. Like if we say, okay, we'll go to Cairo, spend time there. And like you said, well, what's a week? Hey, 3 days would matter if somebody's trying to kill you. You know what I'm saying?
A bad storm though could turn our 2-week trip into a 6-week trip too.
I'm sure it
You
will.
know?
From what I've learned, I'm new and I'm positive it's probably going
All the more
to.
time for the good doctor to try to talk some sense into the other good doctor.
Okay.
Previously good doctor.
That's another good point actually.
One good doctor to another good
So-
doctor.
Now we can stop at Cairo because that's going to be a stopping point. We can pick up our things that we need,
We
and,
did ship everything there.
and we
Okay,
can
I
try
mean,
to
that's
maybe
fine, too.
even do that ritual to place this thing in that box. But we need to do some research before.
Out of character, I think that this Brady character is probably an important source of information.
He was on the Carlisle expedition. And
Right.
He knows stuff going on.
Like the
in
genesis of, yeah.
Shanghai. Yeah. So
Right.
certainly.
I think that would be, we could learn a lot.
Agreed.
And we're going to show up and he's going to be being,
He's going to be
rough,
being killed.
rough housed by
Of
some
course.
cultists.
We're
We
gonna
don't
save
know that
him.
yet. We don't know.
Yeah, we got to go save.
We're going to go save them.
Let's go save Jack
These are
Brady.
damsel in distress.
Yeah.
What good role-playing game doesn't have that?
But are we agreed then?
Enough.
I mean, 3 of us agree out of the 5, so it's majority.
If there's a
Rich, you're going to have to wait for your
if there's a location printed,
You're just
in
going to
that-
have to go and say it a little
crazy
slower.
relics.
I
going
was
crazy
voted
relics.
5-1 on the whole London.
You're used to it, huh?
Yeah, I know that.
You're going to say I told you so?
That's right. I know this ancient or Chinese disaster is going to happen. I'll just be I told you so.
I think
They have beautiful
The-
kimonos there and everything.
That's Japan.
Oh,
Well, I think China
well,
has them too.
I
I've
would
seen
think.
them.
I would hope. I don't know.
I think that Egypt is going to be the end game where this is our Wakanda, like in Avengers.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a central location. Absolutely.
I think. Okay.
What if London's the end game and we already did it?
We didn't, though. We didn't.
We
Well, we
failed.
failed. That's right. We've already
We
failed.
did
We might as
fail.
well just
Campaign's
not go
over.
anywhere.
Nice playing, guys.
Do we take the crazy dude with us to Shanghai?
Yes.
I
We got a lot of time on that boat for her to help him, hopefully. And if it becomes too bad, we can always...
Kick him off the boat. Man down.
No,
He
I
can't
wouldn't.
swim. He's got one
tie a
hand.
rock to his ankle. I mean,
No, that's sick. What I'm saying is...
You want to burn London down? That ain't sick. That's humane.
well,
Well, it
if we
depends on
open
who
up
you talk to about
a
that.
demonic box on a boat,
There's an
that'll be
entire
entertaining.
country that's at the bottom of a peninsula that would think that's
I
okay.
I think that if he were to get professional help,
She is a professional.
well, she's trying to keep herself and us alive. What if we can't help him? We just keep dragging him around with us?
He's got 5 sanity. I mean, more than 3, less than 5. So that's not 0 sanity. So I think,
There's still hope until you get to 0. Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
yeah, absolutely. I think mechanically speaking, like we're not in trouble until we're at 0.
Okay, let's take him with us.
So I mean, it's a matter really of what Brock wants to do, not what Andrew
That's what I
wants to
said.
do.
If he's willing to just roll up another character,
Yeah,
what does it matter? We're debating
yeah,
something
right.
that doesn't affect us directly.
Well, it becomes a question if your characters are uncomfortable traveling with him.
Oh no, we don't care. I don't.
Okay.
As long as we can neutralize the headdress thing. That
But we are certain that our ritual broke the link between him and the headdress.
You're certain of
Yeah.
Andrew hasn't lied to us, and we asked him if he was still talking to it, and Andrew said no. He said it stopped. Now he could be lying to us,
That's what I'm
sure,
saying.
but he hasn't lied.
I'm just
to
saying,
us.
putting that thing in that box would be, I think, a boon for just everybody.
Sure.
There might be some. I mean, we do have other resource material that we could consult. Also,
Sure. You guys have tomes that you haven't read yet.
yeah.
And we have stuff. We have
Psychoanalysis, is that the skills?
Mhm.
a syringe full of green
Like a
liquid
six
that
in
might
there
allow
too,
us
so-
to go to another dimension.
That's true, and we can dump off the box there.
Yeah.
I think we should put it in the painting, but
But we destroyed the painting.
No.
Well, I destroyed the
Well,
painting.
one of them.
Yeah, the one that brought you
We
back to
kept-
time.
We kept the other ones.
I don't think we want to put it in the painting of the Black Pharaoh, because if that painting goes back to that time, then we just gave the Black Pharaoh a pretty powerful artifact. Thank you. No.
Now I only need 3 points of light. Alright, so we keep Brock's character with us. We try to help him out. Unless Brock says, I don't want to play this character
That's
anymore.
right.
In which case we'll be like, oh, we tried to help him, we'll ship him. We can facilitate him going to a sanatorium somewhere.
Yeah, we
Definitely try to research how to take the demon that's in the box out, or at least how to destroy that demon once it's out, or whatever it may be that's in that box.
I don't think the demon is in that box anymore.
I thought that when we cleansed the house,
Yeah, the demon left.
oh, we didn't put it back in the box.
I thought it
No.
got trapped in the box.
That's what I thought
No.
too.
I believe so.
Let me check my notes on Meriwether here.
I thought that was trapped in the sarcophagus, and the kids, the Meriwether guy, as a young person, opened up the box with a ritual and didn't know what he was doing, and unleashed that demon inside. Right. Let us see what the journal
Ooh,
says.
everybody's so quiet and thinking.
We're seeing if the box is safe. So before you joined us, our very first adventure, our first two adventure sessions were we met the Meriwethers, and that's how we sort of got involved in everything going on. That's when we met Jackson Elias, and the first adventure took us to an abandoned house that a younger Meriwether went to and was starting to dabble in the occult. And he did some ritual with some friends, and all hell broke loose. Somebody died, and the house ever since had been haunted. So many years later, we enter the picture, and Meriwether tells us about this, and we go to the house to investigate and find out that it is haunted by some very malevolent spirit. And we use a ritual to cleanse the house, and but what we're unclear on is if we put the malevolent spirit back in the box that we want to put the headdress in,
Oh,
or if we just banish the spirit. So I'm looking at an old diary.
can I tell if it's in the box?
We don't have a box.
We don't have the box.
It's in
You
Egypt.
guys
It's
sent
in
the
Egypt.
box to Egypt.
We sent
Okay.
So on our way to Shanghai, we're going to go to Cairo to pick up. We shipped other stuff to Egypt too, so we have other materials there.
I mean, how long would it take to get to Egypt?
Okay, so when we do
4
get to the
days.
box,
4 days?
can I get
Okay.
to the box?
4
and
days
see?
to a week,
Can
or
I-
to a week
When
and
we
a
get
half.
to Egypt,
depending.
can I tell that? Being parasite with anything I
and
have?
once you're in
That is definitely a
Egypt,
question
you
for
actually
John, but as a
stop the boats.
parapsychologist, you probably would absolutely be able to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
ships at Egypt, international shipping generally goes to Port Said, which is a couple-hour train ride away from Cairo
That's,
proper.
Alexander.
That's where my
Alexandria.
that's where my
Warehouses are. At.
Okay, that would make sense.
Port Said.
Cool.
Well, I'm saying if we go to Port Said, we could hang out there for a little bit, try to figure out about this box if that thing is still in there,
Yeah.
and then figure out how to put this necklace, headdress, whatever it is.
Diana asked a really awesome question.
Once we get there, can't I get to the box? Can't I tell?
She's a parapsychologist.
You are a parapsychologist. What is your Cthulhu mythos? Because unfortunately, parapsychology applies to a specific set of things, and Cthulhu mythos applies to a different set of things, and this thing falls under Cthulhu mythos.
Is my Cthulhu mythos nothing?
That is correct.
The Cthulhu myth.
So you might have a strong opinion on it, but you would not know for a fact.
We do have 4 days on a boat, and we have
At
key
least
books,
4.
So if you want to go lose a point of insanity, feel free to read its tome. Then you can get a point of Cthulhu mythos.
Oh,
That's how it's done.
Yeah, there are books to read.
Pretty
I mean,
much.
you guys got 8 sanity, right? I can afford to lose the sanity.
Sure.
Can I see your eraser on that pencil, please?
I don't have one on there.
Oh,
I think I got one here.
thank you. My eraser's totally shot.
Okay. Well, do we have any other things we need to take care of?
So
Gavin, you on the book?
So you reached consensus. The next step is Shanghai.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to try to treat Dr. Alexander.
Yes.
Is it... Okay. You're going to try to treat Dr. Alexander. What level of treatment is considered a success? Or is any treatment considered a success?
He doesn't try to kill us while we're sleeping. I don't know.
I think the goal should be to restore some sanity.
Because
What would be considered a success? Like, are you talking about like out of game or in game?
I'm talking about in-game. From
In-game?
from the perspective of your
For
characters,
characters.
you want to keep him traveling with you so that you have him, so that he has an opportunity to recover while you keep an eye on him. I believe that's your in-character justification. And what I'm asking is there a point where where your characters would say, this isn't viable?
And he's got to go to a
Yeah.
sanatorium or something.
And
Yeah. I
if
think
that's the case, is it worth saying, hey, Brock, make up a character and have one ready to go in case we can't get your character sufficiently healed?
I think the only reason we say that really is just so, Brock, what do you want to do?
Okay.
If you want us to work on you, then we'll do that. If you don't, if you
I agree.
run another character, then make another character. I don't want to make a decision for him.
Right.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if your characters had an opinion, though.
The character's opinion would be, I hope that my friend can get somewhat back into the swing of it, but if he doesn't, I get it.
Yeah, he might be like, Declan might think that if he is sane enough to realize that he needs help, then he should get help.
Okay.
And that would be like the segue to him.
Moreover, it's more along the lines of my character seeing him degrade so quickly,
Yes.
being like, it would be a mercy for you to go. But like
I would like him to see him either, make some progress and put kind of, maybe shut up about this whole headdress. we should not even tell him it's on the ship and see what happens.
Yeah,
Put it
that's
this
a good
way.
idea.
We arrived on Tuesday the 3rd. It
See
is
if
now
he's
the
gonna
end of the
sense
11th, starting of the 12th. In 8 days, I've seen my friend go from what he was to a mangled mess of a person.
Yes.
So, yes, it'd definitely be a
I don't know
mercy.
if I
But
would use the
if you're
term
done with this,
friend. He's a cohort, a comrade.
save my bacon.
But I felt like he was also there too because he did have the sense that he wanted to get rid of it and throw it into the molting.
No, he totally
Fire.
did not want to do that.
No, it took a great act of will for him to throw it in there,
But he did it.
and
But
no
he
less of
did
an
it.
act of will to
So
grab
there's
it.
something like in there, like you said, that you see from him that he wants
if
to
he
get
wants
better.
to get better.
I feel like if I can.
That's just character terms. In gamers' terms, if Brock's like, I'm done with this character, I don't want a one-armed crazy dude anymore.
Yeah,
That's
there's certainly options too, like
totally
mechanically
fine.
speaking.
Yeah.
Like what he can, like we can help him. You can help him with psychoanalysis and treatment.
I
You
got
can also do a thing called denial,
Mhm.
you know, which could help him regard.
Right. There's a lot of.
So there's
But again, that's all on
ways-
Brock to,
That's on Brock.
to want
Yeah.
to play the
I
character.
think Brock
so.
wouldn't mind having one arm. Or Alexander.
And these are researches, you know, like we might need somebody to.
Right. Once he
dig
starts
into
learning
it.
spells, he's gonna go downhill way quicker.
Yeah, that's true.
But we need researchers for other stuff more than Cthulhu Mythos too. How about regular occult stuff?
We can all do that.
Yeah, but he has the languages to like delve
That's
into
true.
that shit. You know, he's like our
We
language.
do get eeps though, so
That's
you get to
true.
refresh and get
Yes. When we finally depart London, you will get.
eeps. Yes. I think the only thing I hadn't used was like access, honesty, and flattery. So yeah.
Oh yeah, right. I'm looking at this.
Okay. So you were still looking into the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
So I think that leaves, of the issues that we needed to discuss, one big one hanging, and that was simply, are you done in London, or is there anything
For
else
the
you
time
wanted
being.
to take care of?
For the time being, I
For
feel
the time
like we're
being,
done.
it's a little hot.
Yeah.
Is that a
Well,
I
consensus?
feel like we need allies.
I think maybe leaving an anonymous package for the scoop about
And-
Gavignon would be a good parting gift.
And
And maybe
Barrington.
another anonymous
So we
thing
have a
for
wallet
Barrington.
of like of an investigator that we
Right.
found in the basement. We have
You know, that type of stuff, but not actually being like, here's the wallet from one of your detectives. When did you kill him? You know, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
like Mustafa already wrote a letter explaining some of the stuff we knew about
Right.
the murders,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think we sent him the wallet.
and even if that comes to absolutely nothing, at least we have at least we tried.
Sure.
And if it does come to something, then if we decide to return to England for any reason, like to put an end to Gavignon, then
Well, that's going to happen.
Then maybe like he'll be on our side. And
Even
we
if we
haven't
defeat
known
the
it.
Black Pharaoh or don't, I'm going to kill that man. It's going to happen.
And who knows? We may find allies and contacts in other locations that can help us in England too.
I just need to find
Or
a
I hope
Thompson
we're all there to
submachine gun. We're
watch
good.
you kill them.
Do Mustafa or Samus have strong opinions on
On
the
what?
London situation?
I think
It
it's
was a
time.
failure. Let's move on.
All right.
Not a complete failure.
It was not totally, utterly complete failure.
Well,
but
it depends
I think
on what our.
I mean,
We gathered.
we
a
only
lot
lost
of
one
information.
person,
Yeah, I
really.
think
We burned down one village.
But we really, I think we
needed
we really
lately to be burned
disrupted.
down.
I don't even think we stopped the ritual.
I think that village
We,
needed to be
we
burned
definitely didn't
down.
stop the ritual, but I think like the grander plans, we really slowed them down. We destroyed a room full of spell components, a lot of mythos material we destroyed, and if we didn't destroy it, we stole it. So like I think we slowed Gavignon down.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
And there, I think just from other stuff that there's already sort of like a power play between Gavignon and the chick from the spice place, Zahara,
Scary spice.
Scary Spice. So like there may be tension there, you know. So like we don't really know what we're leaving behind when we leave England, but I think if Gavignon is losing any kind of power because we destroyed factories, we wrecked his house, we destroyed mythos stuff, all his spell
We
components.
pissed him off pretty good.
We pissed him off, but it might be a sign of weakness, and Zahara might come in and kill Gavignon for us, you know. And then of course we got to deal with a very powerful, another leader of the cult, but it's not Gavignon, so we don't really know anything.
With nice legs.
That's right.
Stuff is a leg man.
So
Yeah, I mean, other than killing Gavignon, which I don't know that we could do without either being killed or waiting for months for him to
come out
relax
of
his
hiding.
guard.
Yeah, exactly.
Or waiting days for them to kill us.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and as an aristocrat, he can stay in hiding until we die. Like,
Which would be very quickly if they send more women with those clubs with us.
right. So
So, yeah, it's time to get out of Dodge.
okay.
So we have somewhat of a plan. Kind of. Yes.
Ta-da!
All right. So let me just verify. Consensus then is we're all leaving London via the next ship possible.
Do we want to leave from London or go somewhere a
Well,
little less?
Southampton is the docks for international travel coming out of England. You're almost certainly going to go from there. If you want to go, anywhere further than like Dublin. And then take the ship to the port of Sayed.
Yes.
Now, the other alternative would be, as you mentioned, taking the Orient Express, in which case you're talking about crossing the Channel to get to Paris, and then you wouldn't be going by way of Cairo. You'd be pretty much completely bypassing that. And I saw this while we were talking about things. You can, in fact, take the Orient Express and then the standard journey is to catch a ship from England, sail to Port Said, through the Suez Canal to Aden, Bombay, sail on Singapore and Hong Kong. But if you've got more money, you can take the Orient Express, which would get you into Turkey, and then from there you'd be going overland rail through China.
What's the time difference?
It's a lot more expensive to take the train, but it's probably a little bit faster, assuming you don't encounter any difficulties. The rails, if there's a landslide or an earthquake and the rails become blocked, or even just a freak winter storm, because you are still traveling in the wintertime, things can go badly.
So you go by boat, because we definitely need to get to Cairo first.
Yeah, you said save a little bit of time. What do you mean? What's a little bit of time if it goes good?
Best case scenario, you could probably shave a week off of it.
Okay. But on a good boat ride, we'd be there in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So.
Yeah, probably.
Gives me time to read.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
See what we're doing to her?
Apparently.
She's going to read an occult book.
Yeah, I'm for taking the slow boat to China.
Plus, that takes us right where we need to be. Port Said, which is right where the warehouse is. Then we don't have to spend too much shore time.
Was that phrase invented too back then?
I think so.
Yes. Okay. Well, does everybody have their passports then? Because
I handed mine back.
that's
There you go.
probably...
And of course, we have more than one passport. These are not the hey, we killed Gavignon passports. We're trying to kill Gavignon.
Okay. Rereading this journal after all these months. The thing that was in the box was a piece of amber. And the amber is like a catalyst for this ritual that Meriwether and his
there was a
little crew,
spell in there too, I believe.
the ritual to what they believed was to summon a friendly spirit and a guide of the spirit to the spirit world. So that is what was in the box. And they used the spell and the artifact
put their names.
to summon a spirit creature. So maybe
Are you saying spear?
spirit.
Spirit. Spirit creature.
It's gotta be the Bobo.
Yeah, this is Samus.
So they use those.
They use the thing
Those
in the
things.
box
So you have to
as
have that to summon a
to
spirit.
summon the spirit.
So
But Mustafa at the time knew that the box was of very ancient
old.
origin. It wasn't like a knockoff trinket.
Yeah,
It was actually like a
it's become
3,000-year-old box. So that with
This has gotta be rough.
unusual ruins
That
and
is
hieroglyphics
absolutely
marking
Alexander.
it. So it definitely meant to hold something of power in it.
So you definitely don't want to put the headpiece in with that because the headpiece will summon the spirit.
No, I don't think that's it. I think it took a ritual.
Without the reading the spell and it's not like a genie in a bottle thing.
Yeah. Opening the box wasn't enough to release the spirit. The thing inside the box was used as a component of the spell.
That
Right, you have to do it. Do the spell.
right. So
Read
if
it.
we open the box, that thing's not going to jump out.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that.
But
That's
do
a
we
good
want to
sign.
put the headpiece in there with that, or are we taking those items out?
Rose.
I don't.
No,
I don't think we have those items. I think Margaret has the.
So the items
spell.
are not in there no more?
No, we have those.
We have the
books.
spells. And
We have those books.
I don't think. This is Alexander.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
That is me, the hideous Irishman.
All right. So you guys have departed London and set out aboard ship. So you guys do have some books. Does someone have the list of which tomes you have and who wants to
Rock
study
does.
which ones? Is he the only person that maintained a list of which
Yeah,
tomes
we
you have?
didn't take everything.
Yeah.
We burned
Brock-
some of the stuff.
Brock took stuff. Alexander took
And
stuff.
we don't even know, I don't even know what he specifically took.
Exactly.
He just kind of ran by me out the door.
Like he crammed stuff in the trunk after we left the car, the crashed car at the Miser house.
Mm-hmm.
And we never really bothered to pay it too much attention what was in the trunk.
Well, what about the books that you guys had from the U.S.? Because you still had some from there.
yes.
So you
There
had
were like 4 or 5 books.
you had a book from Peru,
Yeah.
right? You had the Final Confessions
Why don't
of Gaspar Figueroa.
Yep.
Let me write these down.
All right.
But I thought all those books
Books.
got read by at least one person.
Yes, but
partially
other
s-
people can read them, and Rose has not yet read any books.
Yeah, but
So-
wouldn't she rather read a book not unread by others?
Well, that is an option. That's the question.
She would.
Life
I
of a
think she
God
would.
Amongst the Stone.
All right. Well, hold
No,
on.
Hold
wait,
on.
So-
I'm just
What's
scared.
the first book?
So from
Scared.
Peru, you have the Final Confessions of Gaspar Figueroa,
Yep.
which is
Yes, I would like to read
Figueroa.
one.
That is written in Spanish.
That's right.
Not all of us can just decide to speak a language.
So that was from Peru.
That's from Peru.
Okay.
I have one language left.
In the U.S., you guys acquired a copy of the Narcotic Manuscripts. That's Pnakotic manuscripts.
Yeah.
That is written in English. It is a quarto, which is a small book, embossed with a red leather binding. It's from the 15th century. The quarto was 16th century, and that was an octavo handwritten on vellum, so that's actually a little smaller. Then you have Sélections de l'hiver divin,
That's right.
which is a French commentary on the Latin original from around the 14th century. Another octavo, bound in decaying blue calf skin. Did you want a spelling on Sélections?
I just put selections. French.
Yeah,
That works.
that works. You have a book called Amongst the Stones, which is written in English and bound in a rather unsettling skin. It was published in 1918 by Justin Jeffrey. Life as a God, also in English, written in 1810. That's a diary of a English artist who came to Egypt in 1805. Africa's Dark Sects, written in English by Nigel Blackwell in 1920, blue pasteboard covers. And I'm not positive which books you acquired in London. There are a couple that you might have found at the Penhew Foundation in the basement. Did anybody take books from there?
I think we burned them all.
Yeah, we burned all those. the ones that were taken.
Not the
were
Penny
from,
Foundation.
Yes, at the Penny Foundation.
Was it the Penny
Yeah,
It was,
we destroyed everything.
Declan, Seamus, and Mustafa that were together, and we destroyed the basement.
The only
much.
the only books that were taken were from the island.
So from Mizar House.
Yeah.
So there was a book in Mizar House in Arabic entitled "The Song of the Jinn." It's bound in goat skin, has a bronze clasp on it.
I'll read that one.
Do you know Arabic?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to read Song of the Jinn. And what are other folks reading, or are they?
I'll read the
I don't
French
want to
one.
read any of this stuff from the U.S.
Okay.
I was holding out for some, Dead Sea Scrolls or something, but we're just not making it to where we need to go. Maybe in another couple months.
I have a
Wake
note
me up.
here about what some of this stuff might actually be about. Poems, trappings of a queen.
I feel like you guys had a copy of De Vermis Mysteries
Yes.
We did.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was from.
Okay.
Put that.
Aw, I missed session 11. Wake up, ... disemboweled.
Session
You
11.
missed the recap of what books we had.
Of course.
Sorry. Do you want to...
We have Final Confessions of Gaspar Ferrago. That's one that is in Spanish. I don't know if you speak Spanish or not. We have Necrotic Manuscripts. in
Narcotic.
Narcotic.
It's Panoptic, isn't it?
No, it's not. That's actually something different.
We have Selections de la Terre in French. Amongst the Stars, which is in English.
Amongst the Stones.
Stones, excuse me. Stones, which is in English. Life is a God, also in English. Africa's Dark Sects, which is in English. And lastly, we have The Song of the Jinn. But Mustafa's already put his nose into that one.
That one's written in Arabic. So do you remember what languages
I'm the
Rose
only
knows?
sane Arabic speak.
I don't think I
relatively
picked
sane.
one yet, did I?
I read Among the Stones,
There's one I did not.
and I lost a point of sanity, FYI. So,
Yeah. I read Africa's Dark Sects. And I too lost a point of sanity.
because you got
Well, two of them were written in English, right?
Yeah.
So
three
the
of them are.
Narcotic
Four of them are.
Manuscripts, Amongst the Stones, Life is a God, and Africa's Dark Sects are all written in English.
The Stones one. I like that.
Okay. So so you're going to be reading Amongst the Stones. You're going to be reading Song of the Jinn. Samus is not going to be
I'll be
reading
scribbling in
anything.
my color book.
Declan, not reading anything.
I'll read the French one.
Selections, do you leave it? Do you want?
What
Okay.
about Amongst the Stones?
Amongst the Stones. All right. Mustafa.
It's covered with iridescent skin.
So Song of the Jinn
It is.
is a heretical work that is a series of discussions held between the author and a being of scorching fire that he refers to as a jinn. And it recovers all manners of esoteric and forbidden lore. It's tough going. It's a bit of a slog, and we're going to have a very hard time going through it, but you do pick up a few insights. And you also find some information about the Cthulhu mythos. So you're going to lose a point of sanity, and you are going to gain a point of Cthulhu mythos. And you find directions in there for a spell. And that spell is called Summon We're just going to call it Summon Jinn. Other people might call it something else, but we're going to call it Summon Jinn.
I would like for you to summon me some gin. A little bit of tonic as well.
Now, when you say I find a spell, does that mean I can cast the spell?
Yes.
Okay. So, from the last time,
You had the dream spell, right? From the other book.
send dream.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can send dream and summon a djinn.
Mm-hmm.
What am I hanging around with you fuckers for? Just kidding. I like you guys.
Rose, you were reading Amongst the Stones. And, you know, this is going to... Any of these books, when you're reading them, this isn't a sit down for a couple of hours. This is really intense study. This is dry stuff. It takes a couple of weeks. So basically, this reading is going to happen over the course of your travel from London to Port Said, right? And this is a book of poetry. And it's bound in some kind of flesh that feels kind of oily to the touch. And it feels oily no matter the conditions. It doesn't seem to dry out. It's unsettling. And one of the poems kind of jumps out at you. It's called The Trappings of a Queen. And as you're reading that, it describes a set of royal insignia that kind of resonates with you as you're reading it. They all refer to a goddess known as Nitocris, Nitocris. Tocris. Talks about her crown, her girdle, and her necklace. And the crown is made of a jet black metal and has a massive cut gem that looks diamond-like, and it's about the size of a fist. The girdle is a belt of gold chain, and it has a very large ruby at its center, at the clasp that holds it together. And the interesting thing about this ruby is that it has a 6-pointed star on its surface. And finally, there's a necklace, which is a long silver chain, and it has a large square emerald pendant on it. And set into that emerald pendant is the image of a black sphinx. And all of these are associated with Nitocris as an Egyptian empress or ruler, or possibly even deity. You're not quite sure what from the poem, but they all strike you as being significant. So significant, in fact, that you lose a point of sanity and gain a point of Cthulhu Mythos. Sully, reading Selections des Livres Divins. So, do you know Latin as well?
I do.
All right. So, there's French commentary that refers back often to a Latin text, which portions of which are included. And there's also notes that this was originally a Greek manuscript,
I speak Greek as well.
though none of the Greek is included. And there's some suggestion that it may have originally been copied from a work that came from Atlantis. In the
There's our
course
Tune.
We
of
just
reading,
need a Atlantean strike team to come in and kill these cultists off.
Right.
in the course of reading it, you find that there is a lot going on here. You're only able to get through 3 or 4 pages, but it talks about the worship of a deity called Tsathoggua. Tsathoggua. And there's also reference to the war between Pazluzza, Pazz-Luzza, and Nodens. You're pretty sure these are both also deity-like entities. And you find 2 spells in here that you think you could cast. And they are contact the formless spawn of Tsathoggua, and contact the Lord of the Waters, Nodens. Of course, attempting to contact such a deity would be pure blasphemy. Though perhaps they could simply be something that was later known as a saint. Who knows? In any case, trying to understand these blasphemies costs you 2 points of sanity.
2 points.
2 points. But gains you 2 points of Cthulhu Mythos.
Wrong book to read, man.
It's alright.
If you contact them, then they know where you are. It's a two-way.
And as you guys are making your way through the Mediterranean,
We get hit by a kraken.
the journey is largely uneventful. Most of you, at least 3 of you, are holed up with books pretty much the entire time, except for the brief moments when you're trying to offer Dr. Alexander some counseling. What is Samus doing on the journey?
I told you I got my coloring book.
All right,
Since, Game Boy wasn't invented yet.
sure. And what is Declan doing?
Actually, I might also be working on
Watching us read
Mandarin.
praying.
Yeah. Please don't die. Probably reading, but not Cthulhu Mythos books.
Okay. Are you
I can
studying
loan you my
something
copy
specific?
of the witch cult in Western Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have any books on China, Shanghai, anything like that I can grab before we leave?
There are 1 or 2 bookstores in London. I'm sure you could
That's-
have picked something
That's
up.
what I do.
Sure.
I'm reading stuff. Particularly geography,
Mhm.
maps, shit
Sure.
like that. That's what I'll be studying.
Okay. When you guys stop in Egypt briefly to raid the containers, what is it you're planning on retrieving?
The
sarcophagus.
sarcophagus.
Is there anything else you plan to retrieve?
Forget what else was in there.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Put
We
some
have all the
weapons in there.
paintings.
Got the paintings.
There's the stuff from Peru, other than the stuff from the house. Now, we don't have the magic gold brick anymore because we put that back in the temple.
Yeah, good thing, right?
I like that brick.
But we had other things.
I think we put some weapons and shit in there too.
There were definitely some
There were
weapons in there.
biological samples.
I'm assuming you guys left the shotguns that you bought in England behind and didn't try to take those
Those
on.
were in the
the
Thames.
Are we going to do Port Said now?
We can, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I assumed we were doing right now. Was there something out of the ordinary you wanted to do other than visit your container?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to do that separately, or I don't know if you want to do that separately, or if you want to do that together. I don't know.
Well,
What do you think?
I think,
What do you think?
I think, 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 I think,
I would, on the boat, I would write, before we left, if we could, I would send a telegram to, Kimmy Ali to tell him that I'm coming, and I would type up notes on the cult of the Black Pharaoh.
Okay.
I would think that I don't know how much I'd want to talk about that in front of the whole group, though.
Okay. All right. Well, you can message that to me if you'd like.
Okay.
So I said the journey was uneventful, and then I rolled a die to check, and I was terribly wrong.
We did get hit by a kraken.
You didn't get hit by a kraken, but conditions were pretty rough on the journey. So focusing to read was a little difficult, but hey, you had plenty of time because the seas were so rough that the vessel made very slow progress, and it actually took you guys 9 days to make it from London to Port Said.
We kind of all needed the rest, honestly.
Sure. The good news, though, is all your skills are recovered. And everyone will have 5 build points to spend.
That means what? We get 5 more points to spread around? the wealth?
Experience points, yeah.
Yeah, 5 more
Skill
points to
points.
spread around
So
on
now
other
just
skills.
Yeah.
Yep, all those are refreshed.
And if you'd like, because it is between adventures, you can shift 2 points from any skill that you already had. And I believe skills that you have
Affinity.
an affinity for, you actually get 2 for 1, right?
Yes.
So if I want to try, can I add one of these to the mythos?
You can't add any of the
You can't
mythos?
add to Cthulhu Mythos,
Okay.
and you can't add to sanity or stability or
Credit rating.
Okay.
credit rating, but yeah, or
And my sanity.
health.
that's,
that was the other one I was gonna. Your sanity did not go back up.
Okay.
Stability,
The sanity over here is still 1.
yeah. So
Stability?
Stability. How far are you guys down on stability?
I think I was at like 1 or 2.
I have 5 remaining.
I had.
Don't tell me how many you had left. Tell me how many you're down.
Oh, how many went down?
I'm down
Stability.
4.
Down
I was
3.
down.
I was down -5.
I was down 9.
Everybody can have up to 5 points of stability back. You can't exceed your previous maximum, but you recover up to 5 points. So apparently,
I was down 4. Now I'm back to normal.
yeah, now you're back to max. So apparently, being rocked around in the ocean and probably seasick and throwing up was just the cure you guys needed to stabilize.
So do we heal health points back?
Health points you will fully recover. Yeah,
And the medicine and all that stuff that I use. All that
those are all back. Yeah.
Okay, out of character, how does one cast a spell in this? And I'm going to at the moment. I'm just
So you
just
spend
wondering.
stability and make you make a stability test and you spend stability. This is basically the gist of it.
But you don't need a special skill or anything.
I think you
Nope.
need components.
You can need a skill. There is a skill you can learn if you would like to. And that skill is called spellcasting. And what spellcasting enables you to do is you spend points of spellcasting instead of spending points of stability.
You might want to do that. How does one learn that skill?
Just like you do any other skill. Spend points on it. Spend build points on it.
What's the ratio for that though?
Unless you have, unless it's one of your professional skills, it's 1 for 1.
1 for 1.
Because
And
you
is
can't
it
find
a
more
general
stability,
skill?
but
Or would it be
it's a general skill.
general? know I'm going to spend
All
5
right.
minutes. Called spellcasting.
Tom, did you catch that from Mustafa? Since Mustafa also has several spells.
Yes.
Did anyone have any other questions regarding skill points or advancement or anything along those lines? Okay. So other than Mustafa getting in touch with some of his Cairo contacts, was there anything anyone else wanted to take care of in Egypt? All right. Okay. So then the journey will continue on from Port Said, making your way to Shanghai. And from Port Said to Shanghai is kind of a long trip.
You said we're stopping in Ceylon. Let's get some tea while we're there. Did you say that?
Oh, yeah, I think I did. But, so you guys actually make exceptional time moving out of there. So it's going to take 22 days further to reach Shanghai. So I think I said it was 9 days to Port Said,
Yep.
and then another 22 days to Shanghai. So a total of 31 days from London to Shanghai.
Was that 21 more days, right?
22 more days. 9 plus 22 is 31, right?
Before we leave London, I forgot this. I'm going to have our clipping service forwarded to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I assumed you'd leave your contact information with them. Makes perfect sense.
Under an alias.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do? Did we stop to
22 days of
China
travel or
with,
22 days when we get there?
Fox
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
9 days to
or
Said.
Egypt?
to
Right.
Port Said,
Got that.
and then another 22 days after that, you arrive in Shanghai.
I think sometime during the trip, does our ship have a telegraph?
Sure.
I think it would be a good idea to try to make some sleeping arrangements, like while we're en route.
Sure. Yeah, that's reasonable. You can book a hotel in Shanghai.
We'll probably do it from Port Said.
The port.
Would be better. I don't think the less communication we do and skulking around London, I think would probably be the best.
And you know, I mentioned last session,
Slightly
which was a
paranoid.
long, long time ago, of doing transcription of the notes. You know, our, whatever, our diaries,
Mhm.
our inventories,
Yeah.
and sending them back to New York.
Yes. Yeah.
So that would keep me busy on the ship.
Okay, so that's going to be what you're
Yes.
focusing on. That makes perfect sense. Was there someone specific you were sending your notes to?
Yeah, the
They
guy
probably walked over with
that
this, so I
was
didn't
in
know
charge
if
of the
it was-
publishing house that
Prospero House?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I do have a map of Shanghai, though I don't have a copy of it here because I didn't know that's where we were going next. But I don't think I have a great hotel list from you guys to pick and choose from, but you'll be able to make some arrangements. You're going to probably want to be in a more English-speaking area, I assume,
Yeah.
with that set up. And I will let you guys figure out what your first priorities are once you arrive in China, in Shanghai. But there's nothing else that you want to take care of during the travels other than what you've mentioned so far.
We'll put the headdress in the box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that whole summoning ritual in Egypt.
Oh, Okay.
That
Yeah.
could be a fun
So are you
time.
going to do that in Egypt, or are you going to do that on the ship?
I think it'd be dangerous doing it on the
On the boat.
the whole
Yeah.
boat. We're gonna tank the boat,
Mm. Well,
possess the boat.
Well, Brock
think-
doesn't know
I think we
have
need to
it,
figure
though,
out-
right?
first how to deal with that thing.
Why don't we put it in the box and just leave it in the crate?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Oh, leave it in the crate?
Mm-hmm. We'll leave it in Egypt.
Well, we had some kind of binding ritual that had to be done for like 3 or 4 hours to seal in the spirit inside the box.
And that had to be performed at midnight,
Yeah.
which is going to add another couple of days onto your trip. Because
Well,
it
I'm
means
just
you're going to have to catch a
saying-
different ship from Port Said.
I think we should just do whatever that's going to make it work. And if that means we're here in Egypt just for a few days off, then that's what we do.
Yeah.
And
I
the
mean, yeah, I
headpiece is
agree.
not going to call to somebody else if we leave it in the
We
box.
have no
and it's
idea.
going to go.
We don't
This
really
is our
know.
best attempt, not knowing what we're doing. You understand?
Yeah, we don't know anything. But this is the safest thing that we think it will work.
And you want to know how many points of Cthulhu Mythos I have? I can tell you.
I just feel like keeping it with us is safer.
I
For
think
everything you guys
Well,
have
I mean,
been saying.
let's have a discussion.
I think it
Please.
makes us a target. We're already a target, and if that thing calls to anybody, then it's a beacon right to us. So,
Yet you didn't want to bury it or do anything
Yeah.
else because somebody, poor
Somebody
kid's
will
going to
just-
find it. So
yeah, well, not in some
I just-
hillside next to a town. No.
I'm just saying, where's it going to be at? Where's this box at? Container at? In a warehouse somewhere? Shipping yard? I don't.
Yeah.
We can take it with us and bind it on the boat also. I mean, I don't.
Is Brock going to jump off? The Alexander going to jump off the boat to get back to it if it's left there? I don't know. Like, we're going to try to hide it from him that we don't even have it. But is he going to feel that and like jump
I
off the
don't know.
boat like he went into the factory and reached in and grabbed it
We'll have no idea until he tries.
till we bind him
Yeah.
and tie him down?
We
So-
already cast the binding thing on him, remember?
Yeah, we think we broke the link between him and the artifact.
Okay. We think.
Yeah. When we're relying on him not telling us the truth. Because he hasn't lied to us about everything that's been going on.
Right.
So,
Right.
Not saying that he's not
That's why I'm
lying to
comfortable
us.
trying to heal him and
Yeah.
things like that because he's been honest as he can be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say truthful as can be, but honest as can be.
And I think the box is the best thing.
I
we
think the
have.
box is too, but I'm just weary about leaving it. That's all.
I just don't want to make us any bigger of a target than we're going to be.
Well, you guys tell me.
I don't care either one. It was just my opinion. I mean,
Warehouse it. You got a vault in there. Put it in there.
Wait. There's no vault in the warehouse.
Oh, well.
It's a wooden box.
it's going to be
Yeah.
Safety
gone.
deposit
It's
box.
we leave
It's
it
a
there,
cargo
it's gonna be
container
gone.
in the
Oh.
warehouse.
Well, how
It's
about
going
this
to be
then?
gone, and Brock's probably going to be gone.
We can. Sure, you deal with banks here.
I
Safety
have
deposit boxes.
Then Alexander's definitely going to have. Brock's definitely going to have to write up another character.
in my office
So-
in Cairo. I have a safe, but that's hours away. So
I'm sure Port Said or Said has banks. Be easy to open.
So,
account, throw it in.
I
a
thought you guys were just stepping off the boat, going to the warehouse, getting back on the ship.
No, we want to.
Well, we had a
I
deal
think
with
that's
the
what we
headdress, too.
But I mean, if you're doing more than that, you're going to have to actually pass through customs. Which
Oh.
mean, yeah.
Oh. Then we'll
He
do
was
this-
just jumping off and getting the box.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
the warehouse is on this side of customs. It hasn't gone through.
yeah, I think we should just grab the box and go.
Yeah, we'll grab the
Take it
box
with
and go,
us.
and we'll perform the ritual on the boat then.
Yeah, either way, it's either going to work or not work.
Yeah.
Well,
And
It's not an either way. It's, well, we screw ourselves or we sink the ship, you know, and take a bunch of people with us. I mean, there isn't an equality of that equation.
But if we die and the boat sinks, we're still going to get rid of the headdress. It's going to end up at the bottom of the fucking ocean.
Calling out.
I'm sorry. And amongst the stones, did you gain any spells from that? I'm just trying to
I did
complete
not.
this. No, okay, so there's no spells.
I thought one of the books gave you like a cult, 1 point of a cult or something.
Yeah, dark.
I
I think
don't
that was
remember.
Africa's dark sex.
No,
That
they
was
gave Cthulhu Mythos.
Oh.
What that gave was anthropology,
Oh, was it anthropology?
only in use while in Kenya, though.
Well, I took 1 point of Mandarin. I'm reading Chinese now. You know, speaking it like it's almost like a sing-song. Like depending on how you pronounce, it
Luckily,
has like
we're
total different meanings. So
yeah.
I'm gonna move the box around. Like,
Okay.
we can
The
actually
crate in the warehouse or the
Actually,
small
the
sarcophagus?
small sarcophagus. I'm gonna go grab that. We're gonna put the headdress in it, and then when we get out to sea, we're gonna bind it.
Yeah.
But I think we should tell Alexander that we left it in Egypt.
I
That's
agree
fine.
with that. Let's see if he knows.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Good idea.
So we're gonna put it in the box on the ship.
Okay.
And we're gonna leave the other 2 artifacts in there with it.
We do have some other artifacts that we should leave. Like we have 2 busts. We have other trinkets from the Miser house and stuff like that. We should leave all that kind of crap. We have a statue of that toad god.
well, we had a Cthulhu statue too. I didn't look at that.
I don't think we grabbed that. Didn't we throw that on the
Is
No,
pile?
that,
I
is that
got
something
it.
that
I
got
have it.
destroyed? I thought that was something that was indestructible.
Oh, okay.
Like some of the stuff was like
Yeah.
you
nothing
couldn't
affected.
break it.
Yeah. I know we burned some crap at the Penny Foundation. And
Yeah.
that's where we saw the Cthulhu statue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we got the paintings from there. I took,
Yes, we took other paintings, right?
but I don't think we took any books.
Nope. We burned them all. But we did take some busts from the Miser house. A black one and a white marble one.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me for me.
Do you want to leave that stuff here? Okay.
Or should we take it kind of all with us just in case we need some of this stuff?
You want to carry the Cthulhu stuff with us? Like all the Mythos books and shit?
Yeah,
Other than the books that you're reading.
kind of.
Well, you guys did need something that you left in the box. Remember? I don't remember what it was, but you guys were like, oh, what was in the box?
I think
And
we
a few things.
we
Yeah.
can find a secure spot when we get to Shanghai that we can have access to. Cost a little money to do.
I think that we're probably better off leaving the stuff here. I mean, I don't know. We're not
It'd be a
gonna
lot easier for our future minions that the stuff doesn't get lost in China.
Yeah.
Assuming, you know, I don't think China's going to be as easy as. I understand the logic. We have the least clues. It's kind of like time sensitive because there's a guy that's probably already dead, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's going to be a lot worse than you guys are thinking it is going to be.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, well, I think
I
we're all
have no
thinking it's going to be
illusion.
worse. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I think if we lose like our Mythos stuff,
We're not
that's-
getting it
We're not
back.
getting it back. Yeah. Any character that comes in afterwards.
And all of this, we're delaying them by denying them goes out the.
Yeah.
We just gave it all back to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it should stay. It seems to be
I think it
safe and
should stay
secure
too.
at Mustafa's warehouse. So,
I agree in staying.
alright.
So you're going to leave it 3 weeks away from yourselves.
Don't look at me like
That's my job.
Was there anything in it though that we should take that is not?
Well,
is there
everything
any-
can be relative. We don't know.
Oh, you
like
ne-
we
you
we
never
have
know.
one thing that we know that is Chinese, right? We have one thing that's guaranteed to be Chinese because we can identify it as such. But all this other stuff, we don't know what's going to be there. We don't know what we'll need and what we won't need.
Yeah, I think like the obvious stuff, like somebody's carrying a briefcase that has this kind of crap in it. Like we're carrying this stuff, the pictures, notes, like
yeah,
that's
I'm
what we
actually
have.
making
Yeah.
copies of all.
Yeah.
But like our books, like in weird skin and shit, no,
Yeah.
that stuff should stay.
Well, you're taking some of them. It's
Yeah,
really
well,
well,
right.
I'd say
notes.
take it
Whatever
with
you're
us.
reading.
What I'm saying is, wherever we go, we have this steamer trunk of crap, right? That could be bad or something. We go wherever we go somewhere. We're normally go to a city. Hey,
We could put
Safety.
candles on it, like the Ark of the Covenant.
Exactly.
And we could just carry it around.
and the wrath of God can just shoot out of it and smite our foes.
I think that's a bad idea.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
we take it. All right. We'll put it in go to a bank. Hey, we have money.
And when
need
we
it.
all die,
Safety deposit box that doesn't have to be that big. It can be a lot bigger and be like, here's some money. You put this in your vault.
I think that might be
Happens
a
all the
target
time.
for us. I don't know why, but I think that might be a target.
I don't
Like you
think-
said, if you
we
put
don't
it on
We
think
paper-
should targets.
I don't
We
think
should
you're
not
bringing
be
papers
carrying
and then you're
around a
carrying
cult
that.
starter kit with us.
Why not?
Plus there's
Because
stuff in
we've
it.
got
like,
everything we need out of it by reading it.
All right.
if we have to
like-
go through customs, they're going to be like, well, what's this? What's this? What's this? What is this thing?
We have
Every
a guy
time
who
we go
can.
someplace.
That's not a problem for him.
Well,
That is my chest.
Okay,
of
I don't
many
know.
I
artifacts.
think we should
bring it up.
leave as
Yeah.
much stuff here, and this is the Shanghai is a side trip. I think. Plus, if you all die, I'm going to sell that stuff. So
Wait a minute.
No,
Are you the
no,
only
you-
one that can open it?
you see, when we all die, you can't sell it because you'll be dead, but your brother or your cousin.
right, yeah, sure.
They'll rummage through it and say, "What the hell is this?" And they'll start reading it, and then that's just their downfall right there. What was my brother into?
Can you guys pass the passports around again so I can give you your Shanghai stamps?
I think I'm being shanghaied.
I think you are too.
The box itself, though, that we're putting the headpiece in, is that gonna be
No, we're
empty
bringing
now?
that.
Or- yeah. Are
Because
we
you guys
leaving
want to do that on the boat, which I think is a highly
that
sketchy.
note or that spell, whatever you said it was in
We
there,
excel
make
at highly sketchy
ghost.
things.
and
or a
I'm trying
spirit.
to advise against.
summons a spirit.
No,
Yeah.
we're not summoning a spirit. We're
I know, but are we leaving that? Isn't there something in there already currently to do that?
We don't
I
know.
don't remember. I thought there was nothing in there.
So there's nothing in it?
other than a piece of paper. I don't remember there being a crystal or a piece of
And
paper.
a
Well,
piece of
There's a
amber.
piece of amber.
This is
Yeah,
also
there was-
19 weeks ago, so
spell components.
we did that stuff. So
Yeah, we think the piece of
Staying
amber
in
was.
there,
A,
those
Whatever's-
things, take
whatever's
take those out and throw them in the box.
Whatever's in there stays in there.
yeah.
Thank you.
actually, game time it was like 6 years ago. Real time it was like 20, almost 20 weeks ago that we did that. So,
No, we're not. I'm not taking anything out of the box. We're just putting stuff in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever played Empires in Arms? It's the Napoleonic Wars, and it takes like 3 months to do 3 months. It's a 1-to-1 time. So like 5 years later,
It's 5 years.
into the
That's dedication.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I only made it through 3 years of the war. I never made
That's
it.
3 more years than I could do. I salute you.
I remember.
That's another thing that I'd like to do if I did not have a girlfriend. I could do that kind of stuff. But
Well, you have the ability to solve that problem.
Should we turn the cameras off right now?
she watched for a little while, but it got boring. So.
Go online sometime and check out the. Somebody had an original Civilizations game. Sid Meier's Civilization from like the 90s.
Yeah.
He had an old computer, like a 46, and he kept it for many, like 10, 15, every now and again he'd
Yeah,
go
I had
back
the
on and
first
play.
one, yeah.
Well, he was playing it for, I want to say, 20 years. And what it kind of evolves into, it's actually a really cool article because it's like written as a almost an anthropological standpoint
Either
because
the
of how
first
the
or the
world worked.
second one I thought was the best. I think the second one was a little bit better than the first, but after like the third or the fourth, they added too many things to it that diluted.
But still, can you imagine having one game that you sit down every now and again for 3 or 4 hours,
I've
10,
got
15 years?
15 years in Ultima Online. My account's about 15 years old.
Wow.
And I was on it about an hour today.
So yes, he can do
Yeah,
that.
you can imagine that, yeah.
There's still servers for it.
Yeah, all the servers are still there because the housing in the game is specific to servers, so they can't shut any of the servers down or people would get mad and quit because they lose their housing.
I can't believe that there's still a server up for that.
All right.
I try to put 1 to 3 hours in a day. Take a job.
So we still have about an hour left on the clock.
No, 40
tonight.
minutes.
Yeah, or
Recording.
I'm sorry, about a little more than half an hour left on the clock. But I'm not ready for you to dive into Shanghai yet. Is there anything else you guys want to go over before in that time remaining?
Well, we get to stop in Bombay or something? I don't know. In India? There's other stops on the
Are there
trip.
any
Yeah.
cultists we could kill in India?
Yeah, do we get
We're all kind of fiending
Any
here,
cities you
know?
can burn down?
Yeah. We all got the itches.
We can do it in half an hour.
Everybody's smoking a pack an hour because they need to see something burn.
Yeah.
You could piss off Vishnu while we're here.
Golly, make it more interesting.
Yeah, explosives is the closest skill to pyromania on the list.
So through the Suez Canal to Aden, Bombay, Ceylon, Singapore, and Hong Kong, and then finally to Shanghai.
I like Hong Kong.
So we are there on the 16th of March.
Yeah, just before St. Patrick's Day. That big major holiday that's celebrated in Shanghai.
Yeah.
I'll celebrate it. And it's tax day back home.
No, I'm going to I'm also like trying to write down the notes, and I'm interested in finding out more about the cult of the Black Pharaoh, but I do not obviously have time. But
Okay.
Do we spend like a day in each one of these ports or something, or is it just like a?
It's a refueling stop, basically. So,
couple hours.
yeah, it's a couple of hours.
So we can't go to the local bookstore while we're.
You don't have time to get through customs, honestly, without running a risk of missing the ship departing, because they're not waiting on you.
He's a hobo, doesn't he? Just mix in with that with everybody. Yeah,
Well, he can, but like I said, he was going to miss the ship coming back if he does. Excuse me.
Since we cast that binding spell on the box after we put the headdress in it, have we noticed anything unusual occur on the ship?
That's an excellent question. Who was doing that casting?
It took like 3 or 4 people to do it, but
I think it was it needed to be uninterrupted. That's why it took 3 or 4 people. It didn't have to be 3 or 4 people. If one person could do it for 4 hours straight.
Yeah, but you had to be chanting for 4 hours
4
straight,
hours
so
straight,
Well, in the house,
realistically,
yeah.
you needed at least 2, and more
2,
likely
yeah.
3 or 4. So,
Mhm.
was everyone going to be involved in that?
I think it would be good for our newest party member to help also.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm all into that.
Okay.
But we can't have Alexander help. because
Right.
No.
honestly,
You would have
He
given
needs
him
to be,
some.
I gave him some
some
yeah,
sedative and
definitely
said
gave
he
him
was
some
asleep.
sedatives.
Sure.
Put him to sleep.
Here's some Benadryl.
Poor
Is this-
Alexander, he just keeps sleeping.
Does this
Yeah.
rag smell like
Tired.
chloroform?
It's more likely it was just heroin, but sure.
I
And
promise,
how about the
Alexander,
other
I'm going to take care
passengers
of
on
you.
the ship hearing all this yelling and
do you get these?
chanting? And
Oh, are we giving those all back?
Yeah, that's all.
Well, I think you're probably going to do what you can to keep matters
Yeah.
discreet. But someone's going to need to make a roll. End of the day.
I'll make a rule.
what?
Well,
roll?
I do have the new precise.
Well, would you like
dice.
to be the one to make the roll?
Sure, Carlos got them for me. I mean,
Awesome.
Let's do it. I have.
So
I like
your
the dice.
your skills refreshed.
Crack them open.
So the question is, do you want to spend any points of occult to make this roll? Because you're coordinating the.
Or should I make
Actually-
this roll, or somebody else got more powers?
if you
here?
have a cult,
I have 2 points.
I have 2. You have 2. Anybody have more than 2 points?
2.
I can shift points still.
I have 2.
So we all have 2 points.
You could all spend one.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend any. You can just make a straight 6-sided die roll without spending. It's your prerogative.
If we fail today, there's always tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'll spend one.
Okay.
All right,
1
you
plus
guys
1
ready?
equals 2.
Here we go.
Yeah. Yay.
5.
5. Is that with the +1? Or?
That's with a +1.
All right. So yeah, you guys spend the evening chanting, and so you drew the ritual circle. You placed the box in the middle of the ritual circle, and you put the headdress inside of the box. Who transferred the headdress in there?
It was.
Who was holding it and
Well,
it wrapped
no.
up?
Nah, it was
It was-
wrapped in a sheet.
And the sheet is much bigger than the sarcophagus
Right.
can
So the
hold,
sheet
right? So the
comes out,
sarcophagus is
And we take a
yay big.
nice cane and put it in there.
Yeah.
Nobody touches it with their hands or nothing.
We know better.
All right. So who's holding the sheet?
Want to roll for it?
I'll hold the sheet to get the thing
I
out.
think you
All
were
right.
holding it originally.
I'll
though,
put it in
weren't
with
you?
my sword.
So you grab the sheet and you use your sword to manipulate it. And we're not gonna make you spend points, but just for my edification, can both of you roll a d6?
Can I use your d6?
Yes, you can.
All right.
For my edification.
4. 2.
Okay. All right. So you guys are very careful with the headdress, and it only brushes your skin 4 or 5 times each. And you managed to get it transferred into the box without incident. You're kind of reluctant to put it in the box because you know
I'm giving him a
there
shot
is
right now.
tremendous power.
Just
Where's
get
that
a-
green stuff?
Just get a dart gun.
I know, right?
I still have the green
Well,
stuff.
so as you notice, as he's putting it in the box, his eyes are really focused on it, and he's having second thoughts. Do you want to
Yeah, I do.
give him an injection?
Sure.
All right.
I'll give
How
him
about
a
just
Jackson.
use like a reassurance or
Yeah, to-
like one of
Just
your
give him a
like,
hug
Don't
first.
go, don't go straight to like heroin.
But it is like it's pretty powerful. So
You got. You're,
I guess I could.
Dual
I guess I
wielding
could run
heroin.
you and back and say it's okay. It's gonna be fine. Let it go. Let it go.
Let it
We're
go.
all
Yeah.
here.
And then the needle goes into the neck.
Does it
All right.
smell like chloroform?
You don't need to mark that off.
Okay.
That's okay.
I'm still trying to shift one thing though here, but yeah.
Sure. So yeah, you get him calmed down, and you're after Rose kind of talks you through it. You guys are able to get the headdress into the case, and you get the case closed. And you begin the ritual. As you're performing the ritual, after about half an hour of chanting, you guys do hear. It sounds like somebody whispering while you're chanting, and you can't quite make out the words, but whoever it is sounds very upset about something. And you kind of want to hear what they're saying. It's kind of, you hear this whispering and you're really curious about what
I'm
this
not
voice
curious.
might be saying. And you think this could be some very important information that's coming from these whispers. You guys sure you want to keep doing this ritual?
Yep.
Okay.
This is confirmation that we need to do it. I think I'm bolstered.
And so you've got the ritual going for about an hour, and you hear a knock on the door.
Ignore it.
There's 4 of us chanting still.
There's
Just ignore the knock.
everyone was there chanting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Except for
Alexander.
Alexander.
yeah, so there's 5 of you chanting.
Yeah.
But you hear a knock on the door.
Ignore it.
I do want to look back to make sure he's locked.
Okay, sure.
Just for
Um,
confirmation.
Should have done this in the engine room. If you'd hear
A
anything.
few moments later, you hear another knock. And you hear a voice. This is the steward. We're getting some complaints about something going on in your room. I feel like I should come in to see what's going on.
I'll walk to the door
No.
and slide a $10 bill underneath, and then walk back to the circle.
All right.
I feel like it's a lie. It's not a Stuart. It's a lie. Just keep doing the chant.
Yep.
All right. About 15 minutes later, you hear another knock.
This is the other Stuart.
No, it's
I need
this-
20.
the same voice. People seem very concerned about what's going on in your room, and I do feel that I need to come in and make sure things are okay. I'm smelling something. Smell of something burning in there.
I just keep chanting, ignoring it.
There's
You
nothing.
know what? I'll walk to the door and I'll open it and step out into the hallway and shut the door behind me.
Okay.
We're praying.
The steward is standing there. He's got his keychain out.
What day does this happen to be on anyway?
So this is going to be after you guys were in. After.
If there's a Friday the 13th, I prefer that date.
It's probably the day after you left Egypt.
That works out perfectly because that would be Mardi Gras back home.
Oh,
So-
well, perfect. So it's
We're
day before Ash Wednesday.
and I'll apologize for any what's the word I'm looking for? Disruptions. That's what it is. I apologize for any disruption we may be causing. However, we have a prayer going on in celebration of Ash
And as you're
Wednesday.
talking, you hear the sounds of babies crying. And, it's after midnight. It's not uncommon for occasionally an infant to get upset and start crying. But you hear at least a dozen of them just wailing top of their lungs.
I think you should probably ask these people to calm their children down before you interrupt our sacred prayer.
Are you sure that's all that's going on, Father? That things seem off, and I smell something, and you can smell sulfur from out in the hallway, and you can hear that same, just on the edge of hearing, whispering from out here as well that you could hear in the room.
Oh yes, everything's fine. All part of the prayer and all part of the.
Well, Father, perhaps then you could focus on praying for a safe journey for all of us.
Of course,
All right. You do have reassurance, right?
quite a bit of it actually.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead. Again, just throw me a die. You don't need to spend any points. Like I said, we're kind of between.
6.
All right. Yeah. You calm him down, and he's pretty sure he's gonna go about his business.
The prayer of Saint whatever.
The famous Saint whatever.
Right. It has to be performed at night in honor of when they were murdered or martyred.
Yes. the traditional beginning of Lent prayer. Yes. All right. And as the prayer finishes, once the prayer finishes, the smell goes away. The babies stop crying, and you do not hear any whispering at all. Are you doing anything to secure the sarcophagus?
I'm gonna wrap a belt around it.
Okay.
Like
What type of belt? Is this like
leather belt.
like a leather belt you had been using to hold up your pants, or
A spare.
okay?
Just until we can find like
We don't want the most
good chain
Good
and
chain and
lock.
lock.
Well, you're on a ocean-going vessel.
Well, I mean,
Chain
we don't-
is
we don't need,
not.
like a boat chain. I'm talking like something because the sarcophagus is what, like
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
Just
I see a chain.
Again,
and
you're-
one of those big locks.
Oh, we can get some.
You can
padlocks.
you're on an ocean-going vessel. Chains are available. If you want chains, you can find chains, and if you want some kind of padlock,
Yep.
you can find a padlock.
Well, I don't think a chain and a padlock, unless
I mean, it's not
there's-
going to be like a bike chain, but
Right. I mean, we'll do whatever we can. We'll Houdini the fuck out of this thing.
Yeah.
okay.
duct tape. Oh wait, is that around yet?
No. Not quite.
Not
Darn.
World War II.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And then what are you doing with it once it's been secured?
Put it in the box.
We're gonna wrap it back up in that sheet, and then maybe when we get to a port.
Now, I do have one other question that seems like it might be relevant. And maybe it's not, because you said you were sedating the hell out of Alexander
Yes.
during that night.
Mhm.
Okay.
He's now addicted to heroin.
Now we got.
I almost got you addicted to
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you guys wanted to take care of on the journey then, other than I want to wait until Brock is here to go through getting Alexander his therapy.
If that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. But was there wasn't anything else that you guys wanted to
No, we just kind of relax and contemplate.
and read and draw and
Drink.
yeah. All right.
Yes.
All right, very good. Then that's probably where we're going to have to stop tonight. It's a little bit early. Apologize for that inconvenience, but I think we're set up so that we can begin Shanghai next time. Thank you very much,
I
folks.
survived it.
Yes. And like I said, everybody got 5 bonus build points to spend on their characters, but you cannot spend that on sanity, stability, health, credit rating, or Cthulhu Mythos.
But we could take as many investigative skills as we want.
Absolutely, there is no restriction in those.
I think I spent
And then
4 on them and 1 on general skills.
Which is totally fine. And
Shotguns that we had are gone. We left
yeah,
those.
yeah, you dumped those in the Thames. So if you want new weapons, you'll have to secure those once you're in Shanghai proper.
Except for my Colt 45, that doesn't leave us.
Right. Any other questions?
What do we want to do with the box now that the thing is bound inside of it?
Stick it in the cargo, or keep it in the.
No,
Police
don't put it in the
room,
cargo.
or-
Keep it with us at all
I
times.
think that's like a bad idea.
No, I think keeping it with us. I think
You don't
we
know
should,
if you can still summon these out there or call to somebody.
I think we should sink it at the bottom of the ocean.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening since we closed it up, and like nobody.
Whispers,
they're not
smells.
hearing
No,
whispers.
no, went away. Yeah.
No
No,
whispers,
no,
no
no.
spells,
We
no
think
crying
it's
baby,
still-
no screaming babies.
Or it's either
I don't-
neutralized or it's playing possum. Either way,
I
it's
don't
not a
trust
problem.
it.
at the
I would
moment.
rather try to hold on to it, but the problem is when Alexander wakes up, if he
If
sees
we're
it,
running around Shanghai carrying this thing like a football, I think it's a bad idea.
where are you going to leave it at?
Wrapped in train, in the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Leaving the South
Okay.
China Sea.
Yeah. It's
Bottom
deep.
of the Indian Ocean.
I'd say Indian Ocean's probably.
Yeah.
Deeper, yeah.
Yeah.
Jumanji.
Well, then our kids can deal with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Alright.
if it can't call out, then it's going to stay at the bottom of the ocean.
But
And
it could
if-
be playing possum, like he said. so.
But also, if it could call out, we're going to get our throat
Josh?
slit, and they're going to take it from us. If it's in a warehouse, they're going to break it into it and take it. So I mean, at the bottom, it's
We are
safe
gonna
at the
weight
bottom.
it really good.
Yeah,
Like,
it's more
Chain
safe.
padlock will do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think either way, if somebody wants to get it, they're going to get it, and it's going to be off our corpses or at the bottom.
So you wrap it in chain, then wrap that chain with anchor chain. And
Yeah, and
And,
then
hope-
drop
and
it.
hopefully we don't need to contain anything else in the future. Or we find another magic box.
That's true.
Yes.
Or we just go.
We still have the ritual, so we can
Yeah, I mean,
turn any box into a.
Oh, you don't think it
binding
needs to
box.
be like a 5,000-year-old box? With
Ancient.
We're
like,
going to
Ancient
China.
script.
There's all kinds of.
There's bound to be more boxes.
You just buy cigar boxes in China.
yeah.
they'll be 5,000 years old.
Yeah.
No problem.
Confucius's cigar box.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for those watching along. If you have any questions, please stop in at our Facebook page, Master Nyarlathotep at Immortals Inc., and let us know your thoughts. Have a good night.